Hey, here we go. We're going to really start now this time.
Here's the real start. Yeah, that was just the practice one, everybody.
That was the practice one.
Yeah.
And we are live. Welcome to Beastly Thoughts Live Podcast, the #1 source for video game-related discussion on the internet, confirmed by science. Recorded live on twitch.tv/Briar Rabbit every Sunday evening, and today, Tuesday evening, and broadcast throughout the world via YouTube, iTunes, and Podbean. Today, we will be taking a look at the latest news from E3, including recaps from Bethesda, BioWare, Sony, Ubisoft, and of course, Nintendo. And all that being said, let's roll. Welcome, Gary. Welcome, Robbie. How you guys doing today?
Doing awesome. How are you, Briar?
Doing very well. Of course, Beastly couldn't be with us today. He is saving little children from alligators in the Everglades tonight. It's a very important task, and we couldn't dare interrupt him for something so trivial as a video game podcast.
Yes, we're very proud of him for saving from the alligators.
I didn't get that memo. I didn't get saving. I heard he was feeding little children to alligators in the Everglades. I was wondering what the hell is up to.
Whatever.
Briar, that's a very important detail, though. We need to make that clear.
Either way, I'm very proud of Beastly. And I miss him dearly.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be able to make a return for this Sunday's show. But unfortunately, he was not able to come. Robbie, it's good to have you back, though. You missed the last show. It's good to have you back on this show.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be back, man. As always.
Sound it. You absolutely sound it.
All right. So here's the deal, guys. We're going to do a rundown of the conferences. We're going to talk about our favorite games, what we saw, what we liked, what we didn't like. We've got stuff from, like I said, Bethesda. We got BioWare. We got PC Gaming, Sony, Nintendo, and Robbie is going to come in at the end because we did talk about EA and Microsoft on Sunday, but Robbie wants to get his 2 cents in. And then after everything, we're going to talk about who won E3. It's a dumb topic, but it's one that always has fun discussions involved with
People want to hear it, yeah.
So we'll do that.
E3 blowout, baby.
Let's start off with Bethesda. Gary, what happened at the Bethesda conference?
Now, I've heard mixed things. People say not a lot happened at Bethesda, but I actually think a lot happened in a very short space of time, actually. And the conference kicked off with Dishonored Death of the Outsider. Did you guys catch this? It's a standalone expansion to Dishonored 2.
I did not realize it was a standalone.
Yeah,
it is. It's not a DLC. It features the character of Megan Foster, who's the captain of the ship as you begin the Dishonored 2 game. I don't know if you recognize that character at all, if you've played it or not. The game's going to be packaged at $30 or priced at $30, standalone. As we said, does not require the original game, and it's coming out for PC, PS4, and Xbox One on September 15th. I think this is smart, to have something that is, not require the main game to have. It doesn't require you to purchase a Game of the Year edition or anything else there. If you just want to get a bit more story or you're interested in trying out Dishonored, you've got this here. What do you guys think?
It's pretty cool. I mean, I like when people definitely do these standalone DLCs because it, relates to the world, but you don't necessarily have to know the game, have to know that whole story. You can kind of connect things together. I mean, yeah, it looks really cool from what we saw. I personally haven't played Dishonored 2, but I loved the first one. So, hey, more Dishonored. I think this is awesome.
Yeah, I've never played a Dishonored game. They look good. I mean, what always turns me off about the Dishonored games is that everybody says, oh, to get the real ending, you have to play, silent and sneaky. That's just not how I roll.
No killing, too.
Yeah.
No murder.
You're going against my true nature when you tell me to sneak around and, be quiet and don't kill anybody. What am I even playing a video game for?
Yeah, I've never got a true ending of any Dishonored game. I've just gone through and killed everyone. It's actually
I kill everybody too, man. In every game, you can't not do that. Come on.
Dishonored 2 was a pretty good game for that, because at least when you played Corvo or his daughter was far more set up for the kind of stealth play, whereas Corvo was more of a hack and slash run and gun guy. So maybe try it out, bro. I'm sure you'd enjoy it. Moving on, Doom VFR. Did you see this? The Doom VR project. It's a new and unique experience specifically designed for VR. So this isn't a standard campaign. It's actually another standalone game built for VR. The one thing that put me off on this was I guess only playable through teleportation movement. There is no free locomotion.
It
So
was
if you saw the
weird,
trailer-
wasn't it? Because it's like, you know, Doom is you're always running, you're fast paced, you don't ever stop moving. This was kind of weird because you'd actually stop and aim, and it was a little
very
strange to me.
stationary as that teleportation only movement, like, kind of forces it to be, right?
Yeah,
I was really hoping, like Gary said, for that locomotion. And
non-stop movement.
this game looked like a game that used Doom assets, but doesn't actually have anything to do with Doom. Like, it doesn't capture the Doom feel at all, in video at least. Like, there's nothing about this aside from the fact that they're using Doom assets that said Doom to me. Like, didn't feel like you were dynamically running around, fast-paced shooting stuff.
Completely agree.
Teleporting to this place. Maybe you'd shoot something when you got there. Maybe not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
so
was definitely odd.
Yeah.
From my view on it, I've heard mixed things. People saying that it's great, that it's a crafted experience and not just a rehash of the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, to me, that's a detrimental thing because the campaign was good. You know, the game was
It was
fun.
real
It
good.
was a great campaign. Give me that. Don't give me some, you know, maybe 2-hour project that requires me to teleport around an arena. But yeah, $30 standalone title. Release date's been leaked as December, so I guess time will tell. We'll see if the developer adds locomotion to the game, because a lot of games have had locomotion patched in, or at least put into the game, so we'll see. Next title I know very little to nothing about, unless we've got any card game nerds in it. We'll probably get through this very quickly. Elder Scrolls Legends Heroes of Skyrim. So the Elder Scrolls Legend card game is having 150 new cards added to the deck themed around Skyrim that will have new mechanics and ways to play. We don't have Patrick Casey on the podcast, so we have no one
we
here
need him.
that plays
This
any
magic
sort of card
experience.
games. I think next week we can rent a nerd with Holtzman and talk about this. So
Right? I didn't even know this game existed. Like, it was not
It's
on my radar
such a-
whatsoever.
It is such a weird game, right, Briar? Because it's like, it's a card game. No one's really ever talked about it. It just kind of happened. Like, I don't know anybody who plays it. Do you guys? Because I don't know.
No, and I would disassociate myself from anybody I found out played it.
that's what happened to
Whoa,
Beasley.
okay, I
We
wouldn't go
found
that
out he's
far.
been
That's what happened to Beasley. We found out he was playing an Elder Scrolls card game. He's fucking out of here.
gone.
Yeah, that's why he can't join us.
Gone.
He's
We
done.
gave him a chance. He came back and he told us about Hearthstone, and that was it. Gone.
Gone.
Get the
Outta
fuck
here.
out.
Gone.
Yeah.
Keeping in the theme of Elder Scrolls, though, and this one is
And
pretty
things I know
interesting.
nothing about.
All right, Elder Scrolls Online, Morrowind just launched, so that was the full expansion. But they've announced that there's going to be 2 DLC packs for Morrowind: the Horns of Reach, which will feature Bloodroot Forge, Falkreath Hold, plus a ton of dungeons, and the Clockwork City, which will be 10 hours of story content against the Daedric forces. So, if anyone is an Elder Scrolls fan, this is capturing the main title locations and dungeons and plugging them into the MMO. So building on the commercial success. I think it's a good thing. Brian,
I
you
will
don't sound
say
like a
the
fan.
Clockwork City looked cool. Like, it was graphically a cool thing. I just don't play Elder Scrolls Online, so I don't really know much about it.
Yeah, that's the problem for me too. Is I tried it when it came out. I just didn't really like it. I didn't think it was that funny. It was just kind of boring. Like, I didn't feel like I was doing much, and it wasn't consistent. I think the problem was too, I was playing it alone. You probably need friends for that. That's, you know, Elder Scrolls Online. It's built to play with people, so not a bad game. Just wasn't really for me. But who knows?
I like it. Evil Within 2 was the next announcement. Now, Robbie, I know
Yes.
you are a big fan of the series. So it's developed by
Love the
former
first game.
Resident Evil creator Shinji Mikami. Follow up to the 2014 hit, they put on an extended trailer, which I guess gave you a bit of story context that you'll be saving the main character's daughter, and spookily, it releases Friday the 13th of October. Robbie, how hype are you for this title? Because I leave little puddles on my chair every time I play a horror game, so I'll be skipping this, but how about yourself?
I mean, yeah, I love the first Evil Within. This and Wolfenstein 2 was really what I was looking for from this conference. I mean, I was just very excited to see it there this year, October. It is very soon. I didn't expect that, but can't wait to get my hands on it and play it. Love the first game.
Wasn't the first one the one that released Letterboxd and everybody says it was shitty? Or all the reviewers said it was shitty, but all the people who actually played it loved it?
Yeah, that didn't bother me, to be honest. I never really noticed it too much, so I don't know.
Was this also the game that famously Beastly gave a 10 out of 10 for and then retracted it down to a 5 out of 10? I think it was.
Yeah.
This is another one.
I remember him saying it's not as good as Resident Evil and all that.
This is going to be a great show because in his absence, he can't defend himself at all.
That's right.
We're going to talk shit about him, but he's not.
We are. When we get to the Sony part, we're going to talk about his crazy predictions.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Good
It's going to be
times.
a hard day for Beastly fans.
Yeah.
Talk about Fallout VR, because this is a game that I'm very excited about.
Now it looks great. I'm excited as well, and I haven't played VR in a few weeks actually, and this is probably something that's getting me to put the HMD back on. So Fallout 4 VR is a standalone game and will not be free to the people that own Fallout 4.
So this is not.
You know, I heard that. I heard people say, "Why is it not free if I bought the game?" I think that is a pretty entitled opinion, Brian. I think you're an entitled man right there.
I am.
From my perspective,
it's my bloodline. It really just kind of travels down throughout history. We're all entitled.
Entitled rabbit blood. Bethesda are one of the few developers that are pumping investment dollars into VR. So they've got Skyrim VR for the PSVR, which we'll get onto later. We've obviously seen Doom VR and now Fallout 4 VR. It's a full campaign reimagined in VR. It's not just a simple mod of the game. You know, this is being crafted and shipped for it. I think if we're not supporting developers and rewarding them for the work they put in, we're not going to see VR development happen.
Yeah.
So from my
I'm
perspective,
surprised that it wasn't part of Fallout 4. I can't say I'm upset about it. It doesn't bother me that they're going to charge for this. $60. I mean, if you already bought Fallout 4, that seems like a lot. But if they really make this an awesome VR experience, then to me that's going to be worth $60. It's a full Fallout game in VR. That could be really cool. It surprises me almost more because they released that high-res texture pack, which I thought might have been in preparation for Fallout 4 VR. Just because, you know, you're putting your face like in the world, you're putting your face so much closer to things than a computer monitor. So for some reason, that indicated to me that they were kind of prepping the game for VR. I guess I was wrong.
I mean, it's not a bad deal because you do get, again, according to reports, you get all the DLCs with it. So this isn't just the base game. This is the game of the year.
It's a crazy amount of content too, like hundreds of hours total, at least.
You've got all that. You've got free locomotion movement. You've got a significantly improved and reworked VATS targeting system. And did you see the base and home designer? That looked fantastic. You know, you can literally walk into your base and you point and click and place things around. So building your base suddenly becomes, you know, a much easier experience. So
will they add a reason to do it?
Well, you can live in it now, can't you? You can start a new life in the wasteland.
I guess maybe you can virtually actually sit down on the couch, you know? If you could do that, sold. That's what I need. Yeah.
So many asses are going to hit floors when you're trying to sit down on a virtual couch. You go,
Yeah, and it's like, oh, the couch isn't actually here.
October 2017, so not too long to wait for it. And it's meant to be coming exclusively on the HTC Vive, but we all know that Vive and Oculus games are interchangeable if you know what you're doing.
Too bad it's not coming from PS4 VR.
How would it though? Because it's a locomotion based game. The movement isn't teleport; it's free movement.
I'm sure they could figure it out.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they'll announce it at some point. Could happen.
Maybe. So, from a VR game to a Switch game, Skyrim seems to be everywhere at the moment. Skyrim's like herpes at this conference. Like, you just can't get rid of it.
Oh my god, and we have more Skyrim later too to talk about.
There is
the most popular 5-year-old game out there.
Yeah. Destiny's 3, isn't it? Yeah. There we go.
Can we actually just talk about for a split second how many times they've re-released Skyrim? Like, it's getting a little crazy, I have to say.
How many times have we all bought Skyrim, though?
I might buy it again on Switch.
3 times now, I think, me personally. So, yeah.
How many times have I bought it and I've still never played it? I think I bought it twice. I've never played it.
So, yeah. I mean, Skyrim actually, surprisingly, was officially confirmed here for the Switch for the first time. So while we saw it on the Switch release trailer, it's never been confirmed.
No, it has.
Never been confirmed. Bethesda have never said they're working on it.
It was in January, at the Switch conference.
No, it was not. It was not confirmed. It was shown on gameplay at the conference, but it was not confirmed by Bethesda or Sony that was Skyrim. Everybody knew it was Skyrim, but nobody would confirm it.
No, I think you guys are thinking of when the Switch was announced. Then in January at their conference, they actually did officially confirm it. Pretty sure that's
Something
how it
happened.
happened.
So it's
Either
either
way,
January or
whatever.
now. It's officially confirmed now for sure.
Yeah,
So maybe
doesn't
for the
matter.
second time, maybe for the first. But it's been built for the Switch with lots of unique features. So you can now put amiibos down there and get a really jacked version of Link with the Master Sword in there. Did you see that guy?
That
It
was,
was like
awesome.
Beefcake Link. It's really cool. And really, no one asked for this feature, but it can be played with the motion controllers, the Joy-Cons, so you can sort
As
of
soon as they showed that, I'm like,
wave them
really?
around, and
Yeah.
it kind of looked a bit like Skyward Sword. But if you dig in that, then it's something you can do. What's worth noting is that it's been clarified this is not the enhanced edition that was recently released on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, but a custom build that will include all 3 expansions, but the original textures.
Not surprising. That's what we were thinking, and yeah, pretty much what I expected.
Briar, will you play it for the first time on the Switch?
I mean, if I'm going to play it, when I first saw it was announced for the Switch, I thought, oh, perfectly. This is my perfect opportunity to finally play it, because this actually seems like one of those games that I can have the Switch sitting by the couch and just kind of pick up, play for 15, 20 minutes to an hour, depending on how boring the movie that my wife has me watching is. And then just put it back down. It's not like, you can just, as long as you can save your spot wherever you are, which I assume you will be able to do, hopefully. Yeah, it seems like a perfect opportunity for me to finally jump into the hottest game of 2012.
Yeah, and then people are even saying in chat, next E3 we're going to get Skyrim on iPhone, we're going to get Skyrim for augmented reality. It's just going to keep coming. They're going to re-release it many more times.
In chat, Tiger Handheld is making Skyrim now.
Oh my
You
god.
guys remember those Tiger Handheld? They were like the little LCD.
I do, yeah. Even though I
Skyrim
probably wasn't
Tamag-
around, I've seen them. Yeah.
Yeah, Skyrim Tamagotchi Special Edition.
Skyrim on your
good.
calculator. Why not?
I'd just sit there and type boobs all day long. Quake Champions was the next thing that was announced. Have you had a chance to hit up the open beta on the PC, Briar or Robbie?
No, but it's Quake. I'd love to try it.
I know that you're an old Quake head, Briar, so that's why I was looking at you there, and you've let me down.
I played a lot of Quake 3 Arena specifically back in the day, but man, that just kind of formula feels old now. And I kind of got a fix of it when I got Doom, and I played some of the multiplayer in Doom. It's very Quake reminiscent. And I kind of figured out, this just isn't my thing anymore, So what I'm really psyched to see is that they're really promoting the esports aspect of this, which is always just a gold mine. Whenever you really build something with esports in mind, it never goes wrong. Like every time, it just knocks it out of the park. Think of Evolve for a quick example of that. I mean, it really just rejuvenated esports. Evolve did.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for this, it's not just a remake of Quake though, because they're taking Quake and putting an Overwatch gloss of veneer on it. So this is more of a hero shooter. I don't know if you've seen it, but you choose a specific hero. You've got your own abilities and movement speeds, etc. And the big announcement, aside from the $1 million esports competition that you mentioned, was that BJ Blazkowicz from Wolfenstein is going to be one of the heroes in the game's roster. So you can shoot Nazis in a Quake arena. So that's pretty cool.
They're
talking
doing
about
a
shooting,
$1 million competition at QuakeCon for this too.
They are. So if you are an MLG level arena shooter, then please do
win $1 million by playing video games. Sounds good to me.
And for referring you, we're happy to accept 50% of that prize fund to the BC Thoughts crew.
Exactly. We're going to be sponsoring
nice donation.
Team. Fatality, call me.
By
sponsoring, I mean legit. We just want 50% of the winnings.
Yes. We don't really need your sponsorship. We just want the winnings. Thank you.
Maybe I'll send you a t-shirt. All right, Wolfenstein 2, guys. This, I think, was the best trailer at the show. It started off so bizarrely, but man, this game looks great. It just looks like they're taking all of the ridiculous stuff that was in the first Wolfenstein or Wolfenstein The New Order, and they're just really going with that ridiculous stuff, because that was really fun. It's a sequel to The New Order and First Blood. It was set in 1961 Nazi-occupied America and features BJ Blazkowicz. The game will feature an epic single-player campaign with over-the-top action, humor, gore, and plenty of Nazis. The game has been revealed to be a single-player only experience with no tacked-on multiplayer, with developers choosing instead to put their full focus into narrative and the campaign. And the collector's edition features a 12-inch retro 1960s Aryan-inspired action figure.
Love it,
That
man.
is
Love the first
amazing.
game so much.
Have you seen the action figure?
No,
It's
I
so
haven't.
cool.
I gotta check it out.
It looks like something you've picked up in a thrift store. So it's a tiny little, like, classic. Like the trailer started off with the girl calling like a robot lassie, kind of that era. If that made an action figure, that's what it would be. And it's the Germans' interpretation of what BJ Blazkowicz was. I forget what they call it, like terror, something like horror Terry or terrible Terry or something like that. Like the evil opponent of the Reich. Yeah, it's really good, like really nostalgic. So I'm going to get it. It's only $100 for the collector's edition. Then it comes with that, so worth.
I mean,
100%
the trailer
worth.
got me so psyched about this game. I really enjoyed the first one, the New Order. I didn't play the DLC for it, but I'm sure it's great. But man, this trailer, when they're in the middle of a gunfight, the guy drops a tab of acid and then goes chasing after this little imaginary creature. It's like in the middle of a gunfight. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that was so good because just out of focus, you had that woman he was with stabbing a guy in the neck viciously, and he's like, "Come on, little fella, come on."
Yeah, I'm just tripping out too much right now. So I'm sorry. Yeah,
that was good.
great.
I mean, hard drug use at an E3 stage is fantastic. That's what we want to see. That wins E3 for you.
Can't wait, man.
Talking about dominating E3 stages, the Master Race made an appearance. I should have said from one Master Race to another. PC Gaming conference summary. They flew the flag for the Teraflop Nation, and leading the charge right at the front with the there's nothing teraflop about him. He is pure terra hard. Was our man Tefty Teft?
Yeah, Tefty was up on the big stage. He was talking to Intel about Destiny 2. I'm not gonna lie, I was really proud to see him up there. He did a really great job, kind of conducting himself and being an ambassador for fucking everything, for Twitch streamers, for Destiny players, for the DCP. He gave us a shout out, which I was blown away by. It was really cool to see Tefty up on the big stage. He's also going to be working with Intel in the future. You can go check out his Twitter. It's at Teft, I believe, TEFT, and he's doing some giveaways with Intel over there. And I gotta say, man, that beard looked excellent up on the main stage. Like really top 10
Extra
beard.
good. Yes.
Top 10.
Yeah, I think he represented Spartans all over the world excellently. Just sitting there with that macho 300 beard. Yeah. I think some people actually got confused whether it was Tefty Teft or sort of a live-action God of War skit. So one of the two. Mighty stallion like beard. But yeah, I hear Tefty, like you say, is just throwing Intel chips out like Oprah. Just everyone.
Too.
You get an Intel chip. You get an Intel chip. So go and hit
he's
him
got
up.
Like stacks of them. So you want to hit him up on Twitter, and I think all you got to say is, "Please give me a free Intel chip," and he'll just send you one.
Yeah, why not?
So he doesn't have time to read them all. He's a little late, so spam him. Ask him frequently and often for those free Intel chips, and I think you'll get a positive response out of them.
No questions asked, too. You will get one, guaranteed.
If you don't get a response to the Intel, ask him for a Ryzen chip as well, just to keep the spam going.
And you know what? Throw an extra teraflop in there as well, because Phil Spencer talks about teraflops, and I just get so excited. Just
Hook
teraflops,
me up with them teraflops, Tefty.
Yeah.
Tefty, Lord of Teraflop. After Tefty'd finished just coming out and impregnating us with his just pure testosterone, came XCOM 2, War of the Chosen. I don't know if you guys are fans of XCOM, but a massive expansion is planned that's twice the size of any previous one.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I really like XCOM. I have it on Steam, XCOM 2, and I unfortunately haven't started my campaign yet, which is it's only 2 years, so I still got like another year and a half before I really feel like it's an old game. But
this sounds like Far Cry all over again.
I played the snot out of the last XCOM game, and I really enjoyed it, so I can't wait to play this one.
Well, if you wait until August 29th, you'll be getting 3 new champions to the turn-based strategy game, the Assassin, Hunter and Warlock. You'll also be getting weapons and recruitables. So big expansion, big time to get involved. This isn't just for PC either. Whilst it was on the Master Race stage, it also is releasing for the PS4 and Xbox One. So the peasants are being well looked after, you know, fed and watered as well.
Because the XCOM 2 didn't come out for the consoles, right? It only came out for PC.
No, it did. A little while ago, actually, they released it.
Oh, okay.
It did.
I played XCOM on my iPad.
How was that?
It was awesome.
Really?
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
So if it works on an iPad, we assume it works on the OG Xbox One as well.
I didn't play XCOM 2 on an iPad, just XCOM. It was good.
Got it.
I like to name all my characters after people I know. And then when I die, or they die, I'm sad about it for a little while.
Aw. So did you have me and Beasley in there and Gary and...
We decided that he said people that he knows and cares about. That's not us.
Oh, that's not us. Right. I'm sorry. Yes. Should have made that clear.
We decided that the best game to do that on was the OG Oregon Trail as well. So there's many old heads in here that played the Oregon Trail and died of dysentery many times.
That's right. And Beasley was naming his characters after us. Yeah. And then we die.
They got to bring that game back. Somebody's got to redo that game.
There's a browser version of it that I got linked. That's pretty good.
I want a new version. I want like a new gritty, hard-hitting version. Right? Like,
so when one of us dies, it's like, no.
I want a Tim Burton version of Oregon Trail.
Okay, that's going to be weird.
Yeah.
Sure.
Red Dead Redemption 2 mod, the Oregon Trail. That's it. It's just trekking west.
Yes. Oh my, no, that sounds good. Like, that legit sounds cool.
If you put Red Dead Redemption in with anything, it sounds good.
Red Dead Redemption, the card game.
Okay, you
no, fuck that.
You have destroyed my point. You are correct.
From one OG game to another, Age of Empires Definitive Edition, so the original OG Knights and Castles Crusader RTS from Microsoft Studios, has been rebuilt from the ground up in full 4K assets, 60 frames per second, 4K, significant improvements to gameplay and AI. It's more of a nostalgia trip, but there's now online co-op and comp multiplayer, so any RTS fans will be happy to hear about this. I was personally. Hit it up, check it out. Coming later this year. The big news from the PC Gaming Conference, however, came in the form of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Briar, did you see this announcement from Brendan Green?
I did. This was pretty exciting stuff. They announced that there would be dynamic vaulting and climbing, which we've seen like kind of hinted at on their Twitter feed, but you know, them actually talking about it is great news. Changing weather in real time, including new settings, dusk, snow, rain, like all of that stuff could be changed in real time, which is actually really exciting. It's a small change to the game, but it could actually change like a confrontation you're having dynamically. If all of a sudden it starts snowing and suddenly your sniper rifle isn't quite as valuable as you thought it was, right? Because your visibility gets reduced.
Or you're running and you just hear crunch, 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 and you're going to hear someone coming like really loudly, too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Two new maps.
Two new maps.
Peru Wildlands and the Adriatic Cliffs Mountains. That sounds exciting. I can't wait to see the new maps. Modding has also been confirmed on the roadmap for the PC version. What kind of mods would you guys like to see for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds?
I want one that removes all the grass and makes players bright yellow. That would be it. That's all I want.
Okay. So no more hiding in the grass? Getting shot as you walk by them?
Exactly. I want a mod that enables auto-aim and aim assist. That'd be a good mod if I'd have that. But
I want a mod that says Briar wins.
I just press that button and win.
Let's have a auto-aim quickscopers mod for sniper rifles.
No, I think mod-wise, it's going to be. I think it's going to be skin-based, I'd guess, because it's dedicated servers. You can't modify the server code, so it'd probably be how you look to yourself.
Somebody's going to modify a link into PUBG. Confirmed.
It would be cool if they could, you know, enhance the graphics too with mods or change the graphics altogether. All of a sudden, you're playing the Walter White version of PUBG Battlegrounds in Arizona, or you're playing the South Park version of Battlegrounds. You know, like changing graphical changes could be a lot of fun. Of course, you know, just improving the graphics. The game looks fine. Some people think it looks great. I think it's a fine-looking game. It's serviceable, but there's definitely room for improvement. So any kind of graphical improvements, I think, would be great.
Well, I'm interested in seeing what the Peruvian wildlands and the Adriatic cliffs look like. So Peru, we're talking like jungles and going into like, you know, Machu Picchu kind of lands, like, you know, temples on the top of hillsides there. So that could be pretty interesting. And Adriatic cliffs are sort of Mediterranean kind of sloping hills and things, which we just don't have. At the moment, we've got a very bland and bleak Russian island. It's not very tropical or exotic. So I think that will breathe a lot of life into the game visually, at least from stimulus perspective. And it said there's no release given, but Brendan did say they're looking to get these out by the end of the year. So, yeah, hopefully we're playing this by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome, man.
You know, another thing, I was actually wondering about this, because with this game being announced on the Xbox as well, and it being pretty anticipated over on the Xbox side of things, what I was wondering is, could they maintain the momentum that they currently have with the PC crowd enough so that it's still a very popular and relevant game when it does get released on Xbox? And I think changes like this will do exactly that. You know, if you get a new map for PUBG, like, I'm definitely going to want to play that new map, and, you know, playing it once doesn't really do it. You're going to want to drop into all the different areas and really explore it.
Yeah.
So I think new maps are a huge deal. I really do like the dynamic vaulting and climbing too. Going through like windows and shit, that's great news.
Well, did you see the video was really cool, because some of the encounters you can have where the guy's like vaulting over a car, or, you know, the little concrete walls that are kind of eye level height that are currently a complete blocker. You have to go around them and plan your approach. Now, if you're sprinting at it, you can just hop straight over it and be on it there. So this is going to open up town combat in a completely different way, because you won't really know when you're going to get ambushed and where from. So
the only problem is, I hope that it doesn't become, like, I hope it doesn't take some of the tactical play out of it, right? Whereas right now, it's like, if you're in a town, like, there's only certain routes that somebody could come at you from. But if all of a sudden they're vaulting over a 6-foot wall and shooting you on the way down, like that, suddenly it creates a situation where I'm worried it'll become a situation where it's like Gears of War multiplayer, where the best option is always to rush at your opponent with a shotgun. You know what I mean? Instead of having gunfights, you know, maybe from behind cover. It's so hard to maintain those behind cover gunfights if the best option is always to run at somebody with a shotgun. We see that in Destiny, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the best option in any game. Just put on a shotgun and ape. It's pretty much proven.
Go ape shit.
But the thing that stops you from doing it in PlayerUnknown is the fact that you're kind of blocked a lot of the time. And we'll see. We'll see if it's a good change.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be balanced in there. I think any change is good change, especially in early access, you know, just to see what works, what doesn't. And the final game that was, I guess, noteworthy from the PC conference was Total War Warhammer 2. So anyone that was, I guess, Total War Warhammer was a massive hit. You know, what was effectively an RTS spin-off from the Total War series, using the Warhammer franchise. Released in September 28th on PC exclusively, and 4 factions are confirmed for the game. Only 3 have been released thus far, but 4th should be released at some point before launch. But that was PC. It was good to see it out there. What I really liked about the PC conference was the way it was introduced. When they said PC gamers are the type of people that take pride in their machine, they get their hands dirty, your machine's got your fingerprints on it. It was such a real visceral way of introducing it, you know, because you don't have that emotional attachment to a PlayStation. It wasn't even
cheesy either. Like, it was not bad.
You know, my PlayStation, I couldn't care less. If you smashed it up, I'd go and buy another one, and I'd download my content, and that's it. My PC, you know, it's got blood, sweat, and tears on it. You know, I've put it together, I've built it, I've made it the way it is, I've positioned it in that way. And I think they hit on a mark there, that PC gamers do have that emotional attachment to their hardware. But yeah, that's something poignant. Ubisoft, do you guys want to bounce straight onto Ubi?
Hell yeah.
One of the biggest what the fuck moments I've had all year was when I first heard of Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Right.
And they showed it today. And I gotta say, I'm buying this game for sure. Like, there's no doubt. This game looks cool.
I was genuinely surprised. It does look fun, I gotta say. Yeah. It's not bad. I mean,
it was leaked several times, but at least we now have official confirmation that Mario XCOM is happening.
Mario XCOM.
It totally is. Totally. That's
Mario
the perfect way to describe it. Oh, man.
But it totally has, like, that Mario flavor and the Rabbids flavor as well. It's kind of goofy looking, and there's silliness to it, and you know, you can use Mario's, you basically can like have people like run up to Mario, and he lays on his back and kind of gives him a boost and pushes him up in the air. So it kind of still had the flavor of a Mario universe to it, but yeah, it's totally XCOM.
It was really cool.
Really is.
Yeah.
I mean, the amiibos that are coming out look fantastic as well, like really good looking Rabbid amiibos. You know, they've kind of cosplayed the Mario characters, which is just fantastic to look. I think the Rabbids get a lot of shit for being, you know, annoying. They're like the Jar Jar Binks of the gaming world.
They're supposed to be annoying.
All they do is go,
their whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, they're supposed to be kind of obnoxious pests.
Well, how
And
did we
they
know
are.
that Briar was going to defend the Rabbids, though? That was it. Just
Yeah, you kind of have to, Briar. Come on.
part of your
One of
extended
us,
family
one
there,
of
that's
us.
it.
Wascally wets.
But yeah, Shigeru Miyamoto coming out and making one of his legendary E3 appearances, because Nintendo don't go to the show anymore. So seeing him come out with the Mega Man arm and just, he
Yeah.
relishes in that. That was
Not
That
only
was
he
surprising.
came out, they gave him like a WWF style like entrance. They gave him like the smoke, and he comes down the
Yeah.
aisle. Guy, just seeing that guy gives me a fucking smile every time I see him. And then he's up
Yeah.
on stage, and
Love
they're both
Miyamoto.
him and Ease are both pointing the guns around. Like 1,000 gifs were created in that instant. You know,
I
Yeah.
love when they do things like that because it takes some of the more corporate stuff off and it's just fun. It's lighthearted. I love when they do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing them
bless
have
Japan.
fun is good.
But it's launching August 29th, exclusively for the Switch.
Yeah,
So that's
I'll be
really
buying that
close
game
as well.
for sure. Yeah, I wish it was coming out before I was taking my trip to Guardian Con because I'd be playing on the plane.
Rip.
Yeah, I feel like the Switch is getting stacked. More and more that I'm seeing is Switch launches this year.
Yeah.
Lots of really quality titles. So
The question is, how will games sell for it? I'm especially going to be looking at third-party games because that's always been the knock on Nintendo consoles. Well, since the Wii anyway, is that Nintendo can sell consoles and they can sell Nintendo games, but nobody else can sell any fucking games on those things. So, can Switch sell third-party games? That'll be interesting to see.
we'll soon find out.
And this doesn't even.
as-
This is kind of skirting that line between a third-party and first-party game. So it's
Yeah, I don't know how much work Ubisoft did on this game aside from giving them the Rabbids license. I feel like this is Nintendo built through and through. It looked and it had like Nintendo DNA on it. That's kind of, to me at least, it didn't look like an
Ew.
Ubi game.
Not
Nintendo
that kind
bodily
of DNA.
fluids were just sprayed all over it. Yeah, that was
Okay.
it. Just a golden shower of Nintendo.
Okay. Okay. Going way too
Never
far.
sit on that. You never sit on that couch again. Assassin's Creed Origins was they gave a gameplay and world trailer. We'd already seen a lot of the actual gameplay reveal on the Xbox stage. This was more focus on what we are going to be playing and what sort of world we're going to exist in. What was interesting about that was seeing the AI wildlife and the towns in itself. So this looked more like a living, breathing representation of Egypt, as opposed to just being something that was completely devoid of life. We've spoken about Assassin's Creed, so we won't dwell on it too long, but hopefully this is an indication that the game is going to feel a bit more than just a load of checkpoints on a map that you walk around.
I want to say that I was really, and not even just from what they showed at Ubisoft, even from Microsoft, I was very impressed by that game because I didn't expect it. It was like, Assassin's Creed's getting kind of boring. They do it every year. They're taking a year off. We'll see. I was really impressed, first of all, how it looked on Xbox One X, and just the game looks very fun. The setting's really cool. The combat system was, I think, the thing that was the coolest to me. How it's sort of one-on-one. You can dodge left to right and things like that. And he has like his very Egyptian weapons, like the kabesh and the spear and the shield. Like, I was really digging it. I thought it was cool.
For sure. Brian?
Yeah, I feel like I talked about it on Sunday enough. It's an Assassin's Creed game. When it comes out and I see reviews that are like 9.5, 9.8, I might buy it. If they're if they're 7.8, I'm gonna be like passing hard.
Yeah. Me personally, though, what they showed, I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll see.
So,
the Crew
go ahead,
2,
Gary.
do you wanna take the lead on it?
Oh, sure. The Crew 2, they showed off for a very long time. This driving game. They're adding all sorts of stuff to it. Cars. I think they had monster trucks, helicopter,
they have
light aircraft,
boats now,
pickup trucks,
planes.
Yeah, boats. Just like instead of really focusing in on, I think what that game needed, which was better driving mechanics, they seem to be just throwing the kitchen sink at it. They did show that it has that sprawling open world again. Locales and streetscapes shown included San Francisco, New York, California, and the Southwest, and it's coming in 2018, early 2018. But it did not impress me one bit. Graphically, it looked cool, but I didn't see why am I having fun in this game.
And the thing is, for me too, is that I played the Crew, guys. I don't know about you. I didn't think it was that fun. I just thought it was kind of boring. I thought it looked looks not bad, but the thing is, for me, is there's a way better open world racing game out there, and that's Forza Horizon. Like, I'm not even really a huge racing game guy. Those games are fantastic. So I think they really got to step it up with this one, because they have serious competition now from Forza on that.
I feel like they dropped the ball a bit in that Terry Crews announced Crackdown, and you had a game called The Crew, and you could have had the guy come in there. I think you had Terry Crews announces The Crew too, in his kind of like Old
He's
Spice
also the
style.
main character.
Be great.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Open world power. It'd just be great to have Terry Crews screaming at me about, like, you know,
They needed him.
20,000 miles of racetrack across America, go! Like, just be really good to have him do a Terry Crews style thing. Never mind, maybe just my own thing.
Nope, that would have been epic. You are correct. That was a mismarketing opportunity.
Totally.
Terry Crews does The Crew. South Park, though, was a great announcement. The fractured butthole. There was a new lighthearted trailer, which was a kind of a send-up of the X-Men. What did you guys think of it?
I kind of thought the same thing I thought about the first game's trailers. Is they don't really impact me at all. But I know that since the first game, they did such a good job with the actual gameplay, and the game ended up being so much fun that the trailers didn't really affect me too much for this game. It doesn't really dampen my excitement for the game itself. South Park Phone Destroyer, though, was a real turn-off.
You didn't like it?
Weren't digging it?
No, I quite like those free-to-play things. So there was a great Adventure Time game, like, I think it's Adventure Time. No, it's not card battles. It's like a kind of like Dungeon Quest. You know, the old sort of gemstone. I don't know. It's like an RPG phone game, and that was pretty cool with the license. To me, if there's a South Park game that's got the South Park humor, that's not been censored and watered down on a phone, I think it'd be fun to pick up and play. You know, Fire Emblem Heroes is like ridiculously popular, and that's a mobile game. So, I don't know, pretty cool. And the other thing to mention is that if you do a direct pre-order through, I think it's the Uplay store for South Park Fractured Butthole, you get the first game free to play now.
That's good. It is a good game. It's a very good game. It's just, you know, the trailers just don't normally get me excited.
Yeah, but it is South Park, and it's so stupid and funny, and I'm still excited for it. I like South
I tell
Park
you
quite
what
a bit.
gets me excited pretty much any time you show me, and that's Pirates.
Yes.
I do get excited. I mean, like, Pirates of the Caribbean is just pornography to me. It's great, fantastic. Skull and Bones. What do you guys think of that? A new pirate-themed naval warfare game from Ubisoft Singapore, who are the team behind the Black Flag naval battles. Did you guys see it? What do you think?
I saw it. I loved Black
awesome.
Flag. I thought it was an amazing game. And I love the naval battles in Black Flag. So for the first half of this trailer, I'm like, oh, I am so down for this. We're going to be fighting. You can do multiplayer battles. This is going to be great. Like, but is it just naval battles? Like, is it just naval? Because I was like, I kept waiting for, like, okay, we're going to board the other ship, or we're going to have combat. Like, no, you're not going to do that. Okay, we're going to go into town, and we're gonna loot the town and you know, rape and pillage. No, we're not going to do any of that. It's just going to be the naval battles.
I love the fact Briar's expectation was live action rape and pillage on an E3 stage.
Well, with your friends.
Really, bro?
We're now going to hone in on a savage pirate rape for about 5 minutes.
That would be a
We've
little
just
awkward.
won E3 with that one,
That's
though.
scary.
Yeah.
Briar, I'm really concerned.
That's
with
what
you just
pirates did, man.
Not appropriate for E3, Briar.
Not Ubisoft pirates. They don't pillage.
They pillage.
So, for me, personally, I get what Briar's saying. However, I thought the game looked fucking awesome. Like, seriously, I was watching it with a friend or two, and we were like, oh my god, this just looks so fun. And then they showed the naval battle. They showed you, like, ramming ships. And, it just looks like AC4's naval combat into a full game. And, like, yes, we haven't seen, you know, do you go on land? Like, is there any of that? But then they teased the Kraken at the end as well, which I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I just thought what they showed looked so cool. I really did.
Releasing
was
the
impressed.
Kraken was pretty good. Specifics of the game were 5v5 combat with no set teams or rules, so you can betray your own team. So, Briar, this is
oh
right
no,
up your alley.
Briar, don't team killing.
I see your Beastly Thoughts plays coming up.
Well, team killing
can
is
we cancel that?
affectionately, if
I'd
anything,
like
it's
to
encouraged.
postpone.
the one, I guess, cautionary tale is that this is starting to get referred to as For Honor at Sea by the internet, because it's another game from Ubi that kind of launched with online only comp multiplayer team based and flopped heavily. So there's concerns that this might be a
single player.
Well, did it? It was kind of like a very weak campaign based around.
I enjoyed it.
Set up. Yeah. Well,
it wasn't amazing, but it was fun.
It's just a bit of a cautionary tale. I mean, it's set to release fall 2018, so there's plenty of time to find out more about it.
Here's what's going to happen, too.
Buy it early while there's still people playing it. I think that means.
Maybe, yeah. And you know what, too? When we get all of us together to play it, Briar, we're going to get some loot. Briar will just be like, that's some nice loot you got there. Boom! He's going to fucking kill us and take that loot. You know that's going to happen.
They said they're going to do a beta for this game, too, didn't they?
At some point, yeah. They didn't specifically give dates.
Might be worth checking out the beta.
PC, PS4, Xbox One. I think the beta will be mega popular. Yeah, the demo.
Yeah. Is it? What is a beta even these days? It's a weird term.
Yeah, it's almost like we just talked about that for an hour.
Far Cry 5 gameplay trailer showing some stealth and AI cooperative elements of the title. So there was a small set piece that showed you working with a mercenary in the Resistance, one of the people in your team. She was climbing up onto a watchtower and you were observing an execution happening in the town. The real star of that show, though, is the dog for hire, Boomer. The internet has gone nuts.
Yes.
Gone nuts over this thing. Boomer, who's like savages the Nazi savages the white supremacists and brings guns back to you in his mouth. It's great. I think Far Cry 5 is going for solid realism, and they're really treating the subject sensitively with their gun-fetching dog Boomer.
Totally.
This game has me really excited. Every time I see this game, I feel like every time I see this game, I hear everybody complain of one side or the other. Either, they're not taking it seriously enough, or it's too serious, it's too dark, this isn't the Far Cry I want to play. But every time I see it, it hits me in just the right spot. They got a little bit of the serious stuff, and they did that at this trailer, like a little bit of serious stuff. You're walking down, you see all the graffiti, you see, you see some of the bad guys. And then shit starts popping off, and you get that real Far Cry stuff happening. Like dogs, your AI dog attacking, and you got your AI sniper up in the hill shooting down, and stuff's exploding, and you're just having fun. And I like that combination. I like the combination of having fun, but also getting kind of a cool story along the way, and something to bite into as far as the story. I'm really looking, more than any other Far Cry game I've ever seen, I'm really looking forward to this game.
Yeah, it looks great. I wish they'd maybe shown even a little more, because I was like, I want to see more. But yeah, no, it's Far Cry, and very looking forward to it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm not a fan of the Far Cry series or the genre. I'm a big fan of what they're doing with the story, but I wish it was another first-person shooter doing that story. That's my own take on it. Like, as soon as I heard that there's this town being run by a white supremacist cult that are like really heavy alt-right, like, biblical people that are going in and just, setting a new regime. I wanted it to be more like Deliverance, where I was trying to escape upstream and there was sort of like squeal piggy squeal in the bushes and kind of thing. That's what I wanted, But I just don't think we're going to get it. So I think enjoy it for what it is. It looks like it's going to be a fun game. Other mentions before we go on to the big showstopper for Ubisoft were Just Dance. In fact, I should have probably saved Just Dance till the end, because that was the star of the E3 for me altogether.
Show. I mean, a magical performance by somebody I've never heard of before.
And they had Sub-Zero on stage too.
Sub-Zero, they had like
awesome.
4 Sub-Zeros, 3 Sub-Zeros.
Yeah, there's multiple of them. Yeah.
The internet is currently divided as to whether or not the panda was dabbing. That's probably the real question of E3. It kind of looked
so
like
funny you mentioned that. When we were watching the conference live, my friend looked at me and he's like, did that panda dab? I'm like, I don't know.
It's a questionable dab from a panda.
Panda came out, I thought I had a head wound. It turned out to be a bandana. that was a shabby looking fucking panda, man. That panda's lived some hard years. On Skid Row.
Fantastic. Good pandas. Robbie, there was a game for Canadians. I think it was Steep Olympic expansion. So you can now do your winter sports, which is good. They just need to put hockey in, and it will just sell in fucking boatloads in Canada.
Oh yeah, non-stop sales here.
That was up there. Just
you guys and your bloody Jesus, I'm done.
Pre-order and get a bottle of maple syrup with every.
I knew that was coming. Oh my god.
That's it.
I was waiting for it.
The new event is going to be moose riding, moose races.
Most races. Maybe it'll be a free update, even that might be even better.
What do you guys think of Starlink? Starlink was the Toys to Life game where you actually build a spaceship on top of your controller.
Yeah,
weird.
It was weird.
I think
care for it.
Every other Toys to Life franchise is wrapping up, winding down, and hitting end of life. And Ubisoft are just thinking this looks like a really good.
It's a brand new thing. Let's do this.
Yeah. You know, it's weird because most of the other Toys to Life stuff are all based around characters. And this was based around building a vehicle, which I thought was at least an interesting take on it.
It kind of hit the Minecraft buzz that kids nowadays seem to be into. So maybe it will do well. I don't see, if they can't do well with Lego's like crack to kids. They love Lego, and Lego Dimensions is
Lego's a crack to adults too. God, I still love that stuff.
Yeah. So if Lego can't make it work, if Disney Infinity can't make it work, I don't know if No Man's Skylanders, as it's called in chat with Wilson, is going to make it happen.
Is Skylanders still doing well, or are they wrapping that up too?
I think Activision are pumping money into that, but
they're still going with that. Yeah.
Whenever I go into a game store, you just see Skylanders in the bargain bin. You don't really see them up front and center.
Getting those hot amiibos.
Yeah, I'm picking up Vita games out the bargain bin mostly. That's what I do. Scout for them, just saving them from obscurity. I don't even play them. I just keep them and stroke the cases. Transference VR
weird, man.
was in there. That was a creepy VR trailer with Elijah Wood. That was a bit odd.
I don't know what this is, but man, I am really interested in it. The way they introduced it, you didn't really know. Is Elijah Wood getting interviewed about a game, and then it turns out that's part of the game. Seemingly, it looked cool. I like the marketing material they put out there for it, and now I want to see what this game's going to be. It looked cool.
It was creepy as shit, too. Oh my god, it was weird.
I mean, I don't follow much horror for obvious reasons, but it was there, so I put it down. The big one that for me stole the show and is probably the most interesting game of E3 to me, maybe Nintendo threw a spanner in the works, but at least until the Nintendo conference, was Beyond Good and Evil 2. The CG trailer for the long-delayed sequel to the 2003 game was a surprise close to the show. The creator, Michael Ansel, actually came out on stage and was visibly tearful as he presented this passion project to the crowd. So that was great to see a guy that actually loved his work that much. It's going to be a prequel to the original game, well before the birth of Jade, set in a vast solar system called System 3. What do you guys think of it? The trailer looked stunning.
It did look stunning. I can't believe it does seem like they've been working on this game for nearly 10 years. But then to release another CG trailer, when you released the last one 10 years ago, what's that mean exactly?
Who knows when this
game's looking at? No gameplay in this at all. That's a little worrisome. But yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like Beyond Good and Evil. And the crowd was blown away.
Yeah, I think this was just to say it's still live, it's coming. We're in active development. Might take a couple of years. That's what it said to me. It's 2020, 2019 at least.
Yeah, I mean, to me, what I really liked was that it was Pixar level quality animation. That could have been a movie.
Good. Beautiful.
If they'd released that as a 90-minute movie, I'd have watched it. That was really, really cool. And the monkey sounded like a guy who'd come up and steal my phone in East London. He literally had
that. Was so funny with the pig. Yeah, totally.
Had that East London accent. It was boom, boom, motherfuckers! Just shooting the thing. It was just so good. Really, really cool. On a more serious note, actually, the development team came out and spoke around it, and the animals are genetically engineered human hybrids created to fulfill human tasks that corporations want to do. So if you get a rhino hybrid, then you can lift heavy rocks and work in a cave, and a monkey hybrid for building skyscrapers. So these are genetically engineered worker drones set in the future in a multi-ethnic, multi-diverse society. So the game's looking to make commentaries on race, society, and the ethics of corporations. So it's going to have quite deep, heavy shit, but with that really good humor and hopefully depth of story. I agree it would have been nice to see gameplay, but I almost feel like the CG trailer got me more hyped than just seeing some gameplay, because that introduced the world.
The only reason I would have really liked to see gameplay is because we saw a trailer 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just and it's like a famous trailer because it has been 10 years since we saw the trailer. We haven't seen the game. You know, like it's
a little weird, but
famously just kind of has not shown up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it wasn't such a good trailer with such good voice acting and animation,
it was very good. Yeah,
it looked like. Do you remember the Overwatch trailer before Overwatch came out, where they're fighting in a museum? It was Tracer and Reaper and Wilson. Not Wilson. I think it's Wilson now. Where's the monkey?
Wilson.
Is it Wilson? I'm thinking. I'm seeing him in chat. I'm thinking that somewhere else. Wilson, the ape thing. And they're fighting in that. So that was like Pixar level stuff. That to me was reminiscent of seeing the Beyond Good and Evil stuff. So I don't know. I get hyped from trailers. So, but yeah, summing up Ubisoft, what do we think? Were they a good conference, bad conference?
They were pretty good. Yeah, I liked them quite a bit.
I thought it was pretty good. I thought there was some real high notes, some relatively low notes, but I am very excited about their upcoming lineup. Far Cry 5 has me stupendously excited. Assassin's Creed, I know it's not ringing my bell right now, but hopefully it'll be great. Mario and the Rabbids is phenomenal. Skull and Bones, interesting. There's a lot of stuff in there. Beyond Good and Evil, obviously, one of the most anticipated games of all time. Winston. Oh, it's Winston.
Fucking Wilson, man. He's ruined us forever. That's it.
That's right. Blame Wilson.
I took a screenshot of his picture. It's here framed. I'm just stroking it occasionally. That's all that I do now since it's gone. Yeah, for me, Ubisoft conference was really good. I expected... I don't know. I shouldn't really disparage a developer or a publisher as heavily as I do, but I expected shit from Ubisoft, if I'm honest. I expected the same old stuff they peddle out all the time. I didn't expect it to be good.
I didn't think it would be really that good either. Yeah.
The only disappointment for me was no Division 2. I expected a CG trailer of Division 2.
I thought we would get Splinter Cell. That was my disappointment for that conference, but still, they showed a lot of good stuff, so... Yeah.
I don't know, with them ending support for year 2 of Division, but saying that Division remains a franchise and an IP that they want to invest heavily in, I expected that we would see a CG trailer of Division.
Yeah, I think...
Give it a year.
Hopefully we'll see it next year. I would like to see that game get kind of a rethink, because there's a lot to like about that game. The main problem with it was just kind of boring, and I think if they could fix that problem... There was a lot of other stuff around it that was really cool.
So, fix the boring game. Awesome. Now, moving on to the big guns of the event, Sony. Now, there's been a lot of mixed talk around Sony. Some people saying that they were heavy hitting. Some people saying that they absolutely flopped it and should be embarrassed to themselves. I think if nothing else, I think I'd like to start before we go on to the games there. The production value was appalling.
It was bad.
Absolutely shitty. Like, it looked like it was done by a load of work experience students. The fact that every trailer that started, for the first 30 seconds of the trailer, when they're scene setting and building tension, I saw it at about 30 feet away, and I saw the crowd, and I had to watch it, and I think, like, I don't know, it didn't feel good to me. And the first 4 games, the audio was completely messed up.
Yeah, that was a big problem.
It seemed like they were playing it through the PA in the auditorium, and there was microphones in the auditorium picking up that audio. It was terrible. Like, it was really bad. And it was skipping and buffering a lot if you were watching it on Twitch. I did switch over to YouTube, and it was a slightly better experience, but it still wasn't. There was like syncing issues. It was not a great experience.
I had issues with buffering too. We were watching it on a big screen TV, the friends and I, and like it was skipping here and there.
Brag about it, Robbie. Yeah, big screen TV.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Bragging about your friends. We have friends too.
I swear to God.
I don't know. Yeah.
I had a friend once. It was shitty.
Sorry, Brian.
Sugar. I never saw him again.
I just have Vitas now. I don't need friends. It's fine. It's fine. Surround myself with them. But yeah, I mean, that aside, if we park those issues, which I think actually detrimentally affected, it was almost as bad as the fucking Microsoft conference.
It took the momentum off too, which is the bad thing. Yeah.
When they looked at the Microsoft conference Assassin's Creed gameplay, do you remember when they showed it and a TV in the sun outside? And it just was like, we're going to watch some gameplay now.
That was Ubisoft, I think. That was Ubisoft.
Was that not Microsoft?
No, it was Ubisoft.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. Yes. The Ubisoft, they showed it on a TV outside.
In the sun.
Microsoft, they actually showed gameplay.
All right.
Yeah,
Whoever it was.
Microsoft's showing was good for Assassin's Creed. Ubisoft, not so much.
Yeah. I mean, production was a bit hit and miss, but in terms of games, I think some heavy hitters, some kind of less so. I got the feeling that Sony didn't have much this year. That was the gist that I got.
I got the feeling that they announced everything last year.
Last
that they're
year.
going to release next year.
Yeah, agreed. That's exactly how it was. Yeah.
We did
Yeah,
get to see Call of Duty WW2, which is coming out this year. We saw a multiplayer reveal trailer. They showed a significant departure for the franchise. Standard, excessive gore, parachute respawns, class system, returning familiar features such as score streaks and quick scope
Squad.
shotgun duels.
Briar, you okay?
But it beat
Quick squad. Right.
What'd you guys think of the Call of Duty World War II stuff? I thought it looked pretty good.
It was all right. It didn't blow me away. I don't know if you guys have seen, actually, there's actual like multiplayer matches coming out now for Call of Duty. It looks good. It doesn't blow me away, but it looks solid. It does look fun. So
yeah. I think it was Sunday I mentioned that the problem I'm having with the Call of Duty stuff right now is even though I think they're giving me back what I originally had asked for back when Advanced Warfare came out, is that I've changed as a gamer. Like my expectations and wants out of a video game have changed because of Destiny, because of the Division, because of these like integrated games where one part touches another part. That just give me a game with here's a single player campaign, here's multiplayer. It seems old school and it seems out of date now.
I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, it's so fresh and so different that to me, it's going to be my go-to historical shooter.
So
Whereas
fresh
previously,
and different out of a World War II shooter. I mean, the reason Modern Warfare felt so fresh and different was because every shooter was a World War II shooter for like 10 years.
Yeah. But I haven't played one since Medal of Honor Pacific Assault, I think was the last World War II era shooter that I played.
It has been a while.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think World War II is one of the best settings for combat games, because it's probably the last good war. And I mean that in the sense that there was a clear bad guy and a clear good guy, and the bad guys had such the Nazi regime, the iconography, the branding, the look, the feel. You can make, Wolfenstein's built a franchise on taking that and running with the kind of Nazi iconography. Mm-hmm. To me, I think Call of Duty, setting that thing there, you get a kind of a rich, deep, gritty feel. The gore coming back is fantastic because it looks like a war. There's guys getting their legs blown off and they're just crawling around the battlefield near you. It looked like Saving Private Ryan. It was really, really good. I don't know. Destiny 2 was probably going to be my multiplayer shooter. Yeah. That was the game that I was going to play. From the way Destiny's shaping out, it looks like Destiny 2 is going to be my PvE or looter shooter that's not necessarily a multiplayer competitive. First, I might have a go, but it's not. I think games like this are probably going to fill the gap because Call of Duty looked like it was, at least when you saw the multiplayer footage, it looked like this had been built for competitive multiplayer and a solid multiplayer experience. So I don't need it.
Man. I'm definitely going to pick it up and give it a shot. There's no doubt about that. I just hope it's good. Hope it's real good. I think the Call of Duty community is dying for a great game right now.
They want something that's just good finally.
Well, I'm excited. Days Gone was less excited about, but apparently the internet disagreed with me.
No, I have to completely disagree, Gary. I thought the demo they showed was even better than last year's. I thought it was really good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, open world action game set in a post-apocalyptic world with zombies. Appears to be a mix of The Last of Us and Metal Gear Solid 5 from what I saw. Might be just my perception.
Very
PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, no doubt.
I would have been blown away from this game if I hadn't seen it a year ago.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
I mean, the game looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to it, but I mean, I've known about this game for a year. And they didn't really show anything different than what I saw last year. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a different level of the game, but it was the same basic, here's
I thought it was cool though.
Guys, here's a little bit of story.
Yeah,
I'm
I
looking
thought it
forward
was
to the
cool
game,
though how they.
but I had just seen it. I saw it a year ago, and I've had like a year to marinate on it. You know.
True, but I think it was a little different this time just because like you saw a bit of stealth and then you also saw kind of him use, they're called the freakers, not actually zombies, used as like a weapon. He blows open like that sort of wall and then they pour in and kill all those guys and he goes up above. I thought that was cool how you can use them sort of against the other humans, things like that. But yeah,
This
I mean, I
was-
think it was even better demo this year. I really did.
This was one
I
of the
would agree.
games
It's
that
better than it was last year. It's a better demo than it was last year, but it wasn't a huge departure. It's the same game, and they
You're
showed
right,
it off
yeah.
last year.
Agreed.
this was also shown, if I'm not mistaken, at the PlayStation Pro reveal, wasn't it? It was they showed
was.
the HDR. They threw
Yeah.
a Molotov cocktail into a group of
Fairly brief,
zombies.
but yeah.
So it's been peddled a few times. This game's definitely been pimped out. I don't know. Maybe I've just got zombie fatigue. I've probably seen too many zombies.
It could be. It could be.
We
I
didn't even
do
have
like
a
that there's like
release
such
window.
huge groups of them, and they seem to kind of chase you in that way. But it's a little bit. It breaks the immersion a little bit. How they never seem to catch him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's firing this like gun into him, and like every bullet seems to drop one zombie. You know. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what that game is when it comes out. I bet it's going to
No,
be fun. But I
no
don't think
release
it's gonna
window
change
too,
the-
right? Like they didn't even say 2018, 2017, nothing.
Said set to release this year. So there was in interviews and any coverage that's been put on it, they've said that it's a 2017 release.
Good.
But at the moment
Really?
it's 31st of December 2017. So there's no release date, which could easily be pushed.
Early
no.
2018. Yeah, I think that's pretty likely.
Briar, as the most qualified individual on this podcast, would you like to take the lead?
Destiny 2, we got a new story trailer, which introduced Gaul. If you've seen the Homefront mission that was revealed at the Destiny reveal event, it seemed like we got the cinematics that come right when that mission ends, right? And it was cool. You see Gaul, he's a badass. He does that like villain kind of monologue thing. You see our Guardian get his ass kicked. You see that he, falls into a pit. His armor's all busted up. It looks. What I'm so excited about this trailer is that the narrative and the story side of Destiny 2 really seem to be shaping up into something that I'm very interested in. Gary has written here, it explains the motivation of Gaul and ups the storyline stakes for Destiny 2, something sorely missing from the first game. They are keeping the PlayStation exclusivity, and it is going to be full 1 year exclusivity for a ship. I can't remember the names of the things anymore, but a ship, a strike. What else was there? Some armor
Multiplayer map?
exclusives, a multiplayer map, and an exotic sniper rifle, the Borealis. Sniper rifle is cool too because you can change its elemental damage, which is really it's a dope thing. It wasn't unveiled at the Sony event, but we did find out when the betas would be released, and we found out about the PC's release date. So the PC release date is going to be October 24th, 6 weeks after the console release date. The console release date got moved 2 days forward to September 6th, as opposed to the previously released date of September 8th.
And that was scary at first, right? Because we thought, oh no, does this mean PS4 gets it 2 days early? Thankfully, that's not the case, though. People were thinking that too.
Yeah, Twitter was overreacting as usual. And we also got the beta release date. So the beta on the PlayStation 4 is going to release on July 18th. On the Xbox One, it's going to be July 19th. And on the PC, it's going to be sometime in August. If you want to play on the 18th or the 19th, you got to pre-order the game. There will be a public beta on the consoles on July 21st. So, pretty exciting stuff.
Awesome.
I got to say, I wasn't expecting yesterday to be a big news day for Destiny, Destiny 2. I expected to see, a trailer and be like, okay, there's a trailer. But it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, well, I think that's a bit of a bummer. Is the PC release is maybe a little further out than I personally would have hoped, but
it's actually less than I was expecting, and I was happy to see them put a firm date on it, Robbie, because I do not like having this nebulous. It's coming sometime after the release.
I'm so happy there's a date too. Yeah,
there's a date now, and we know that there is going to be a PC beta, so you'll be able to try it out on PC, see if your PC can handle it, before you decide if you're going to buy the PS4 or the Xbox or the PC version.
Oh, yeah.
I am bummed that it is 6 weeks later, because that means that PC players are going to miss out on getting that chance at seeing a raid fresh without it being spoiled by the rest of the players. But I am glad it's coming finally.
So,
Totally.
couple of blemishes on the announcement for me, at least. I think the storyline elements were great. I liked kind of Ghoul Vader, as they are calling him, you know, with the kind of the face mask and everything else there. I think that's all good, which is why, to me, Destiny's shaping up more and more to be a PvE looter shooter grinder. At least that's the way I'm going to play it. For me, the exclusives, whilst it is just a sniper rifle as far as we know in terms of things that I guess would be concerned about, and sniper rifle is moving to the power weapon slot, so it's not going to be something that you're using as frequently. I think that having 12-month exclusives for real game content, so things like a strike and a map, I don't know, it feels anti-consumer. It feels like, again, you're dividing the community. I know IGN have had a very violent reaction to it, like pretty incendiary, in fact.
It's definitely annoying, yeah.
The fact that it continued after players were so pissed off about it in Destiny 1 is really disappointing. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Agreed, yeah.
And I agree with you 100%, Gary, is that you're talking about significant portions of content. You're talking about the strike, you're talking about PvP maps, a really cool weapon. Like, this is all stuff that, you know, is part of the Destiny world. And, you know, I don't know how much content is going to be in Destiny 2, right? If we find ourselves in a situation where we feel like Destiny 2 is as content light as Destiny was, then it's even more upsetting, because you're talking about like a chunk of the game that isn't available to everybody. And the year turned into 2 years with the Taken King stuff, which is even more frustrating.
That's rough.
Because it's really, it does suck. It does suck. And I'm surprised that they went back to a year. A month? 2 months? 3 months?
Yep. Or, you know, in my opinion, if you're going to keep it 12 months, then armor and ships alone would have been sufficient. I think when you bring maps, when you bring, you know, strikes, weapons into it, that's when I feel like you're treating one portion of your population base as a, I guess, a second-class player. When you're saying you don't deserve this strike. Why? Because you've bought it on a platform that we don't support.
A strike, too, is such a replayable thing. Like, it's like, really? A piece of content that's meant to be replayed so many times, you're just not going to give it to people? They paid the same amount of money, and they're not getting it.
My guess is, and Wilson kind of brings this up in chat, my guess is this contract was signed before Destiny ever came out. It was a 10-year deal. When we started hearing that Destiny was a 10-year game, my guess is that, you know, Sony recently having finally gotten Call of Duty from Activision or from Xbox, and having just felt the pain of that 10-year deal, having that game be an exclusive to the Xbox, they
had to do it back.
Well, I don't think it's anything to have to do it back. I think it's just they saw how much of a competitive advantage having Call of Duty get early content on the Xbox gave Call of Duty and the Xbox, that I think they saw an opportunity with Destiny. The makers of Halo are coming out with a 10-year game. Well, let's throw a shitload of money at them, and they probably signed a 10-year deal. And I wouldn't be surprised if this 1-year exclusivity stuff goes for the lifetime of Destiny.
Yikes.
There's a couple of other semi-news pieces for Destiny 2 that I didn't actually add in here, but came up during E3 and are worth addressing very, very quickly. One being that there will be no ranked playlists or no ranked
This
modes.
is weird, because we're getting different reports about this. There is going to be like a competitive playlist, but it's not going to be ranked. So what the hell does competitive mean?
There's a lot of misinformation around this that I guess I'm deducing or trying to read around. And this whole quick play and competitive, I think people are using the terminology competitive and quick play and associating it with games like Overwatch and thinking that means, oh, this is connection-based matchmaking and this is skill-based matchmaking. No one said that. Bungie haven't said that. No one else has said it. If you look, quick play is solo-friendly Slayer game modes. Team deathmatch, control, supremacy. You can go into it quickly and play. Competitive is the playlist you go into if you want to play an objective-based game mode that requires coordination and working through. And in my opinion, the reason they've done it is rather than have 13 PvP playlists, you've now got two PvP playlists that people can queue into, collapsing the group and making skill-based matchmaking more effective because the pool of skilled players is tighter. I don't think that's anything to do with, you know, connection-based, skill-based ranking. I just think that's a clever way of saying, you want to play a Slayer game mode, here's your quick play. You want to play a team-based game mode, there's your comp.
Probably right about that.
Totally. There's a very interesting comment in the chat too. Ocamper says, canceled my pre-orders for Destiny 2 on all platforms. Gonna have to miss it until the complete edition is released. That's interesting. I mean, I know people are upset about this timed exclusivity. I wonder if that's the solution, or is the solution maybe just don't buy it on PlayStation, like buy it somewhere else? I mean, I don't know. It definitely sucks though to have these kind of things.
I mean, it's frustrating because as a supporter of the game and someone who thinks that there's going to be a quality title there when it's released, they just don't need all these stories. Bungie are a company that have seen time and time again through the life of Destiny, poor communication has led to unnecessary, turmoil in the community when people have, got themselves up into a huge amount of problems just because there wasn't clear communication. So I'm hoping that this can be addressed moving forward, but just something that
it may be something that comes along after the launch too. Maybe we don't have ranked at the beginning here, but maybe with the Osiris DLC, it enters the mix there, or maybe it comes with the first Iron Banner. The Iron Banner starts. Let's say that Iron Banner is the first live event, and it comes a month after launch. Maybe that is the ranked playlist that everybody's looking for. We don't know these things. Bungie's staying really tight-lipped, and you're right, Gary, that is causing some miscommunication, but at the same time, if they tell us everything, then, it ruins some of the surprise.
Yeah.
True that. Talking about surprise, Detroit Becoming Human was the next game that was showed. Game by Quantic Dreams. Trailer showing Jesse Williams of Grey's Anatomy. Good to see him working again. As playing the lead role of a robot overlord, getting, I guess, a load of worker drone robots to rise up against the human overlords. What do we think of this? This didn't interest me in the slightest, but then I wasn't a fan of Deus Ex or any of those kind of dystopian robot fantasy games.
I thought this looked cool. I liked a lot, actually, what they showed last year's E3, like really showing those decisions and how they mattered. I thought that was cool. I mean, Quantic Dreams kind of had a weird, kind of history because Heavy Rain was really great. Beyond Two Souls, I know, wasn't received as well. But I mean, hey, they make these kind of games and it looks cool, so I don't know if I'd really be super excited for it, but yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like a little excited. Not crazy, though.
I can't imagine myself picking this one up. I'm just going to skip it.
Well, there you go.
Now,
I know a game
you're not going to skip,
fair,
and that is Dad of War. The God
Dad of War, yes.
God of War reboot. Do you want to take the lead on this one, Brian? I know that you are pretty excited about it.
It is. I keep saying that I can't believe I'm still excited about God of War, but this game, I mean, they're changing it in such dramatic ways that it really does have me excited. Franchise, it's a soft reboot featuring Kratos in a Norse mythological setting and sporting a surrogate son. Storyline details hint at strong suggestions that the narrative will link to Loki and Ragnarok, with Odin and Odin's son being of importance. Gameplay looks to be a significant departure from the previous games in the series, with a third-person aesthetic and more realistic feel to combat. The game still showed Kratos doing what he does best against massive demons, and the release date is early 2018, so this thing isn't that far away.
Yeah, pretty close.
I gotta say, the combat was one of the things that I was wondering, like, are we going to be using those chains again and just like whipping around and hitting like 15 enemies at the same time? There are definitely like area of effect attacks that Kratos is going to have, but it's zoomed in much more. It's a much more personal form of combat, and the benefit, like kind of like a however, is you still get like those massive boss battles as well that God of War was so famous for. I'm looking forward to this. It looks like it's going to be personal and like have a nice story to it, but also have kind of the God of War like holy shit moments.
I love it. Yeah, I am really impressed by the way they've taken this. Just a different perspective on God of War. I love the different style to the game. It's very similar types of combat. You're fighting now Norse mythology, demons and stuff like that, but it looks different and cool enough. And I love that he has his son with him. That'll be interesting to see how they react and how he learns from him. So yeah, It
I
looks
think
fantastic.
it's actually a soft reboot gameplay-wise, but not necessarily story-wise. So you mentioned those chains, Briar. If you look closely at his forearms, they're like bandaged and wrapped, and you can see the scars of where the chains were forged into him on there.
Oh,
So
really?
it is, yeah, it's the same Kratos there in it. There's a scene of dialogue where he's talking to an unidentified woman in the trailer. We don't know who it is there, but she says, the gods will find you. They know you're not from this place, and when they do, they won't take kindly to you. So I think it is the Kratos from the Greek thing who's ended up in this sort of Yggdrasil kind of Norse tree world. And there was actually some of the characters from Ragnarok, so Fenrir, and some of Loki's other children, who was like the wolf that's going to bring about the apocalypse. And theory is that I guess that the Kratos is playing the role of Odin, and the other little guy is being Odin's son. That's Thor, that you're going to see there, the young guy, that's the son or whatever it is that's walking around with him. So interesting that they're taking I've never seen God of War as being a complex story. I saw that God of War had some emotional motivation at the start of it, but the rest of it was just slashing big demons.
Yeah.
So,
Guy kills everything he sees.
Yeah, he's got a lot of PTSD and anger issues, really, real issues. But I agree with you. It's probably the first God of War I'm gonna buy since God of War 2, I think it was. Whatever one was on the PSP, I played that. Was it? An old one. I think it was. Some shit.
I did like the original series. I just got bored with it because it was so same. Like, I couldn't tell you the difference in the story between God of War 1, 2, and 3. It didn't really matter. What I liked was those huge boss fights. And like as the series progressed, they kept things like the quick time events and like the combat, which was super button mashy. Like, this looks to be really taking a deep look at the gameplay of God of War, what the God of War story is, and really just taking a new, fresh perspective on it. And it looks really fun.
Absolutely.
Horizon Zero Dawn DLC looked pretty fun as well. The Frozen Wilds, which was
Can't wait.
the next announcement. I don't know if this was an E3 hit for me, but it was certainly an interesting cinematic trailer. Featured new weapons, enemies, and armor. People thought this was going to be a multiplayer DLC, so it's interesting that this ended up to be a single-player story. A lot of people were speculating that. I know Beastly on the show, ratting on him again, was one of the guys that said we're going to get multiplayer for The Last of Us, but multiplayer for Horizon Zero Dawn. Little's known, but apparently it's going to launch later this year on PS4. So
yeah, love to.
Will you be picking it up?
100%.
Maybe. I mean, it's end of the year. This year is going to be. There's a lot of games coming out, so maybe. I liked Horizon. I wasn't in love with it as a lot of other people were.
Yeah, I don't actually own Horizon anymore. I completed it, and it was the type of game that I thought has no replay value, so I just traded it in. It's not something that so if I wanted to play this, I'd have to pick it up again. I'm not sure if I will. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I'm not a beat 'em up fan. Again, I was hoping that if we had Beastly, we keep talking about Beastly in his absence. I feel like we need a little square somewhere there that we can just kind of point to whenever we refer to him. But I know that he's a fan of the Marvel vs. Capcom series. This is a return to the 2v2 from the 3v3 of its predecessor, and will feature Infinity Gems as a mechanic to tie into the Marvel universe, where you can, like Destiny Supers, you can target that ability. I have no interest in Marvel v Capcom, so do either of you two play the games?
No, not really. Yeah, I don't think that's our kind of game.
It's a Beastly one. The game that I do have interest in, and I know that a lot of our chat were talking about it earlier, Monster Hunter World. Mm-hmm. This is huge. Do you guys play Monster Hunter? Are you fans of it?
I played Monster Hunter, and I don't remember which one. It came out probably 3 years ago. It was definitely while we were doing the Beastly Thought show, but I don't think it was the most recent one. I played it on 3DS and actually enjoyed it quite a bit, but didn't finish it.
Yeah, I played some of the old Monster Hunters. I thought they were fun. I haven't played it in a long time, though.
So Japan have had a ton of quality Monster Hunter games, online games, Monster Hunter Frontier G, Generation G. It's a Japanese game. 4 guys get together and you slay epic beasts just because. There's no real storyline. You slay them because you slay them. You cut bits off them. You make armor and weapons from those bits, and then you slay bigger monsters. It's just a constant gameplay loop in that way. Looter slasher, if we want to say it in that way. Mm-hmm. This is the first time it's returning to the console since the Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, which was a remake of the Wii on the Wii U. So the last actual full game was created for the Wii and ported to the Wii U. It looks fantastic, real open world hunt locations, which is you don't have to go through the 12 loading zones of a map now to chase a monster. You just go into the hunt zone and hunt, and it's going to include drop in and drop out 4-player online co-op. So rather than have to meet up in a lobby and then load a level in, I might be online and then I see Robbie and yourself have come online and you can just hop into my game, like in Destiny when people join you on patrol or join you in a strike. Very similar thing. I'm super, super excited about this because I did not think we'd get Monster Hunter on the PS4 or PC. I thought it was going to be on Nintendo. So I thought the Switch, the Monster Hunter Double Cross was announced for the Switch in Japan. I thought we'd see that in the West, but apparently we're getting a completely different version for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So super, super excited about that one. You guys, something you pick up, something you try?
Yeah, I'd definitely give it a shot, I think. When and how, I'm not really sure. I mean, that would totally depend. So,
yeah, this one to me is all about release date. If it comes out when I've got a gap in my schedule, maybe I'll pick it up. I don't see myself getting huge into it, but maybe, I might check it out.
Yeah, I think I'd dip into it. Like, I don't know if I get super hardcore into it. So, but again, it all depends.
So, Shadow of the Colossus remake was the next big one. I didn't play the original, so do either of you two play it? Would you like to take the lead on this one?
So surprising that this was announced. A friend of mine actually loved the original Shadow of the Colossus. Like, he was like freaking out. He almost thought it was a sequel, and he was like ready to flip the table. It was pretty funny.
I do not get the hype about this at all. Like, I don't understand it. Go
really?
ahead, Robbie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I mean, it looks very beautiful. Like, all I can say is I was surprised. Did not expect it.
All right,
go ahead, real quick.
This is a remake, right? It's a remake of the critically acclaimed 2005 game. In the PS3 era, they already did. It's not a remake. It's a
remaster.
Remaster. Thank you.
Is it? Yeah, I guess it is.
They already did a remaster of this game not that long ago. I feel like less than 5 years ago. When I was looking at the footage, it didn't look like a remake to me. It looked like another remaster. Like, this did not look like a PS4 game, like that reimagined everything from the 2005 PS2 game. Like, I looked at the ground and it was like a flat, perfectly flat level ground, and the monsters look good, but they didn't look like compared to the other stuff we're seeing at E3. I mean, they look like PS2 updated graphics. Like, we took the original models out of the PS2, we upgraded them. To call this thing a remake is a stretch in my imagination, or a stretch in my mind.
Well, it's been rebuilt on the Last Guardian's engine, so maybe the gameplay will feel tighter. I don't know. I didn't play the original, but yeah, it's got the original musical score, which I know people were very hyped to hear. I'm a bit skeptical that we've got no release date in 2018 yet, though. This feels like more of Sony's tactic of, if they're light on the ground, they show something that's way far out. And
that
get
could be
people
why
hyped.
it doesn't look that impressive.
Yeah. Talking about things that were shown a long way out and have only just sort of come into prominence, Spider-Man, which was originally announced in 2016, will apparently not be released this year. Now, this was something else that Beastly made a strong commitment to, saying this is going to be out
commitment. I would say he put his reputation on the line with this one.
He got his
and now we're going to shit all over it.
manhood out, put it on the desk, and said,
shit on it.
This is it. No, he said it would be out within 2 months of the movie. And this is now an undisclosed date in 2018 that this game's coming out, that was shown at last E3. So now we're probably going to see it at next E3. Insomniac Studios' Spider-Man, so the makers of Sunset Overdrive, Ratchet and Clank, they showed an extended gameplay demo. It's going to be a departure from the Spider-Man Homecoming movie, and will feature a trained, masterful Spider-Man at the top of his abilities and at his most powerful, taking on the Kingpin and a host of enemies. So this isn't going to be a kind of coming-of-age Spider-Man story. I think they wanted to show a Spider-Man that could kick ass. What do we think? It looked good, but I'm kind of over it.
When the hell is it coming out? Show it to me the year it's coming out. How about that?
Yeah, this is again why I'm losing faith in Sony. And as successful as they are, I kind of feel like their predatory tactics of showing something that is nowhere near completion is starting to be exposed.
Yeah.
You know, 2, 3, 4 year out games, you can't keep winning conferences because eventually you're going to run out of things to announce, as we've seen this year.
Yeah, the one that bugs me too is like Death Stranding. Why did you announce that? They just chose an engine for that game. Really? Like that game's had 6 months of development by now.
We have one
don't
more.
announce that.
I think we have 2 more games we want to talk about. But if you look at the list that we've gone through so far, Call of Duty World War II, this is the first time we have seen multiplayer, and Sony got that exclusive. So I'll put that as a win. Days Gone, saw it last year. Destiny 2, we've been seeing that one for months. Detroit Becoming Human, saw it last year. God of War, saw it last year. Horizon Zero Dawn, it's DLC. The game already came out. Marvel vs. Capcom, I think that was an exclusive. That's the first time we've seen it. Monster Hunter, I think that was the first time we've seen it. Shadow of the Colossus remake, I think is
weak. And Monster Hunter's not an exclusive.
There is very weak. That's not exclusive. So there you go. So just so many of the games that we've seen in this console, we saw last year. And like you say, Gary, I think people have cottoned on to this idea that Sony's doing this, is that they're doing this awesome presentation where it's game, or they have an orchestra doing the music for the whole show, and they have zombies hanging from the roof. But these games are fucking coming out. Like, come on, man, get the game out. And over the last 3 years, I would say that Sony's got a much stronger lineup than Microsoft has. But man, this E3, they were not showing off new games. They were showing off or games that were coming out this year.
And I think that goes into the conference as a whole too. For me personally, they've killed it the last 2 E3s. Amazing show.
Yeah, but you look back, Robbie, how many of those games have actually come out?
You're totally right. Yeah, not
how many of them are
getting
shown again at this E3?
That's the thing that bummed me out too, is like everything that showed up, like when that conference ended, I thought that was okay. Nothing really surprising, and it was the same games we saw last year. That's exactly what I thought too. It's like the same stuff we've already seen, and it was maybe not as exciting too. So
there was no Last of Us 2, no Kingdom Hearts 3,
no Sucker Punches IP, Bloodborne 2 I thought was a shoe-in. Like there's a bunch of other stuff too.
Absent. I'm questioning whether or not they knew that whatever they announced was going to be overshadowed by the Switch and the Scorpio announcement or the One X announcement, and this is all going to be loaded on us hard at the PlayStation experience. I don't know.
Could be, yeah. And even like there's no real big third-party games announced at all either. Like Microsoft kind of did better on that. We
still got more games that we got to go over, and one of them to me is actually really exciting. 2 of them are actually pretty exciting. And we got that new hardware announcement of the new Vita 2 that was, unbelievable. Nobody saw that one coming.
I can't even believe that
Gary,
happened,
you saw it
Gary.
coming.
You're
you
amazing.
Called that one. Jesus Christ. That was out of nowhere. I mean, you seemingly pulled that out of your ass and handed it to the Sony execs so they could show it to us on stage.
Yeah,
Sony missed a treat. What can I say? What can I say? They could have won E3. They had one chance. One chance.
It needed the
Vita 2. I don't even think they said the words Vita at all.
No, there was one. There was one Vita game. Announced.
There was one Vita game.
Yeah, but it was PS4 and Vita.
You know what they needed in addition to the Vita 2? They needed a NAC 2. They didn't show NAC 2. Mistake. Unbelievable.
What they did show was Skyrim for the PSVR. Skyrim again.
Yet again.
Come up.
Yeah.
Herpes strikes again. Just keep applying the cream. It will eventually go away.
It's also full priced. Skyrim VR is full price too.
So
Jesus.
There was no massive details on this game, apart from the fact that it will also include the 3 expansions. They're just giving these away. They can't get rid of the CD keys for these expansions.
What was the one called that released late last year? The Special Edition, Ultimate Edition, whatever it was. This is the same thing with VR.
It's basically not the Ultimate Edition. It's the original. No, it's the original game's textures. They couldn't get the Ultimate Edition to run in VR, not on the PlayStation. Not a chance. But you have to. You think you're going to be running the game twice at 90 frames per second to stop motion sickness? Because each eye is a 1080p screen running at 90 frames per second. You can't do it on a PlayStation. It doesn't have the horsepower.
Right. Yeah.
So this is going to be stripped down visuals. It's likely going to be controlled with a DualShock because there was free movement in the game. So I don't think it's going to be Move controllers. I don't think you could do that in Move controllers.
I think you could do it the same way that Steam does it. I mean, the Steam controllers are basically. I don't have one handy. Let me see. Do I have a PSVR? have
props.
like this button be forward, this button be backward, this button be left, and this button be right. You know, and you just kind of push the button.
Clunky though, wouldn't it?
It would
Yeah,
be
it wouldn't
clunky,
be
but so is
smooth.
Steam VR, or so is the Steam controller, kind of clunky.
Mm. I envisage it being played in a controller because it looked like the movement and the way it was fighting.
You're probably right. I would like everybody to just steal Oculus's controllers. Just
Yeah, the
rip them off.
touches.
Literally
Rip them off.
steal them.
Look, they ain't got no money to sue anybody anyway. We're good.
Facebook have got enough money to buy Sony just outright twice. Facebook are loaded. Yeah, I mean, there's no word if this is going to be on the Vive or the Oculus. This to me sounds like a perfect game for the. I mean, you can actually play Skyrim VR right now on the Vive and Rift anyway. But I mean, it'd be nice
we
to
need
have.
want motion
Skyrim
controls.
released.
the
Yeah, let me
G.I.
just
Joe
swing
attack.
at a dragon like this, you know? Let's just swing my sword. Is it done
Finally,
yet? Is it
one-to-one
done yet?
mapping of motion controls.
I don't know. I kind of like lost interest in Skyrim in general. The fact you can play it in VR is good, I guess, but
I'm more interested in
gonna-
playing Fallout in VR because it's a newer game, and playing Skyrim on a Switch.
well, I don't actually own a PlayStation VR anymore. I mean, I told you guys, didn't I? I sold mine because it gave me immense motion sickness. Not because the product's bad in any way, but I've had a weird reaction that after playing a lot of PC VR, for some reason coming back onto the PlayStation and having that slightly blurred resolution in comparison just set off motion sickness for me. So yeah, I wouldn't be part of the VR generation. Uncharted, The Lost Legacy was the closer, I guess, to the show. I think it closed the show, did it? Maybe. It was
No,
in the
that
show.
was the opener.
Was it? Oh, well, I've got it
Yeah,
completely
that was
back
the
to
opener.
front. So the opener for the show is a standalone chapter in the Uncharted series. So I thought this was DLC for the longest time, but this is like Dishonored, where it's a standalone,
It's a standalone game. Yep.
About 10 hours of content, they've said. So it's pretty much as good as a normal Uncharted game. But rather than playing as Nathan, you're going to be playing as Chloe Fraser, rampaging around India, hunting the tusk of Ganesha with a mercenary Nadine Ross. It said the gameplay will feature sneaking, puzzles, action set pieces, and Naughty Dog have said it is the most substantial story expansion they have ever made in an Uncharted game to date, releasing August 23rd. What do we think? Is it still Uncharted without Drake?
Yeah, I love Nadine Ross as a character. I thought she was one of the strongest story points of Uncharted 4.
She was great.
She felt like a fleshed out character in the last game, and I'm glad to see her returning. Chloe, I'm less excited about. She was a little whatever. Like I'm excited for this game. I like the.
She was
Uncharted
like, you know,
series.
Nathan Drake's side chick for a game.
I think I was
pretty
the
much,
only
so,
person
yeah.
on Earth who was disappointed by Uncharted 4 because of the way that story went. So I'm like, all of the technology they built for Uncharted 4, bringing it into a game with hopefully a better storyline for me personally is really exciting. I mean, I'll definitely take a look at anything Uncharted. Again, though, showed it last year.
Yeah.
PSX, not last E3.
Last year.
True,
PSX
though. Yes,
last year.
it was last year.
Yeah, I think that should be the theme for Sony. Showed it last year.
Yeah.
Before we
much.
go on to thoughts about Sony, then should we just blast through Nintendo at breakneck speed? Because I think Nintendo really impressed. You know,
I'm down with
They had a
Nintendo.
good conference.
Let's do it. There's some
So-
stuff on here that I'm going to just stay silent about, and I'll tell you what it is right now. Xenoblade, Kirby, let's see, Yoshi Switch,
all of it basically. That's
Fire
it.
Emblem.
I think there's really only one or two things that matter on here.
I think
Two games in
everything
particular.
matters.
One that was just announced.
I think
Everything.
everything matters to somebody. It's just me personally. I don't get excited about this stuff. I was just
So-
making it funny.
We're gonna whip through it at relatively quick pace because every announcement there was a quality announcement. I think with Nintendo, you don't get any filler. You know, it's very much like the Bethesda conference where
It was
it's all
smooth. Yeah.
all killer, no filler. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Well, actually, the game started off with a bit of a sizzle reel at the conference, and you had Rocket League, you had FIFA, and you had ARMS as a little kind of montage there. Rocket League was a big announcement, and that Rocket League, which is
That's awesome.
on the list down there, is actually coming to the Switch with unique Mario Nintendo content, and it's going to be cross-play. So you can play it with PS4 and PC. Holiday 2017. I'm pretty hype. I think Switch is probably the best place to play Rocket League.
Yeah,
Makes so much sense, right? Yeah.
I don't know. That game runs and plays really fun on PC too. Actually, it runs and plays really well anywhere.
Well, I'm just thinking the portable aspect of having it. It feels to me like the game that I'd play on the go. It's something that I'd enjoy there.
I only play that game online with other people, though.
You can play it online as long as you've got a Wi-Fi hotspot, I guess.
Get ready to pay for Nintendo's online.
I don't know. When I'm on the
We'll
go,
see how that
I don't necessarily do multiplayer gaming.
Well, this game has not been built for you, Briar, then.
I guess
Sad
not.
times.
I guess not.
Rip Briar. Sorry, Briar.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was a game that massively excited me, so I am a huge Xenoblade fan. If you're a JRPG fan, which obviously I am with my Vita fetish, I absolutely love that. Xenoblade Chronicles X I played Xenoblade Chronicles 3DS remake for the new 3DS. I'm a Monado fan. I love the British voice acting. This one's actually interesting because they've not just done a direct sequel; they've taken a anime style, like real JRPG style, rather than trying to make it more of a Final Fantasy style. Coming holiday 2017, did not see this coming. I knew it was coming out, but didn't see it coming this year. And I think a recurring theme talking about Sony not giving release dates was Nintendo giving release dates. And we've had some great ones. Kirby, 2018, side-scroller with 4-player co-op, looked interesting. Again, looked like a Nintendo game. Yeah, and something else is good. The big announcement, and Brian, I'm sure you'll have something to say on this one, was the Pokemon mainline RPG.
Oh, come on, Gary. Don't do that. I got excited, too.
Pokemon mainline RPG. Game Freak have teased for the first time ever we are going to see a Pokemon RPG coming to a console. Oh my god.
That's huge news, right? Like, that's gigantic news. Moving the mainline over to, even if they're not moving it over to the Switch, if they're just going to have, a mainline game start on the Switch, that is huge for the Switch. It's a portable console. You can also play it on your TV. Millions of people around the world are addicted to Pokemon. Pokemon put out a quality product every time. That's part of why Pokemon is so popular, too, is that every time out there, this is huge news for Switch. This is going to sell a lot of Switches.
So what made me really, really hype about this is that actually the bad news in the Ultra Sun and Moon announcement that we weren't getting Ultra Sun and Moon on the Switch and it was 3DS is actually good news, because they said they're building a unique from the ground up Switch experience.
Right.
So it's not just a port of a 3DS game with high-res textures. To me, imagine Breath of the Wild map. Breath of the Wild climbing, that sort of huge expansive map with snow valleys and lava pools and caves and things. But rather than going and hunting Korok seeds, you're hunting Pokemon in the wild. And you actually, you have to get the right clothes on to go up to the mountain to find the Moltres at the top of the volcano. And I mean, there's so much they can do with this to make it an amazing game. To me, this was the standout announcement of E3, and it was just a guy at a notepad who sort of leant up and went, "Yeah, we're making this. It's coming out maybe 2018 or 19." One E3 for me, but that to me is my biggest announcement. And again, horses for courses. Some people won't like that. I know, Briar, you like the next announcement.
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 is coming to the Switch. This was a poster, a title card of the game to confirm it was in development for the Switch. No further details or even a confirmation that Retro are working on it. Retro are the guys who made 1 and 2. Did they make 3 too?
I believe so.
They made pretty much all of them, yes. The last couple at least.
So yeah, getting Metroid Prime on the Switch, it makes me very excited. There was another announcement about a 2D Metroid coming as well. That didn't, I think, make it into the press conference.
At the bottom.
Oh, it is at the bottom. Can I talk about that one now? Because that one's even more exciting to me. This one's for the 3DS. Unfortunately, it's not coming to the Switch that we know of. But it's a side-scrolling Metroid game. There's a surprise announcement. It's also been described as a reimagining of the classic Game Boy game, Metroid 2. If you're old enough to have played Metroid 2, you might be older than me.
Oh my god!
You're old enough to party.
That is a fucking old-ass game. Set to release in September of 2017. No word on a Switch port. I'd love to see it get ported to the Switch. That'd be amazing, because I don't really care graphically what it looks like. I just want to play another 2D Metroid game.
Oh, totally.
Like 2 Metroid games, though. 2.
I get the feeling that Metroid Prime and that Pokemon announcement, looking back at the conference, because they were just like a random title screen or a guy sitting in an office, I almost feel like Nintendo are like, we need something. Can we just get a title? Can we someone Photoshop up a title quickly. Just
We're really good at Photoshop around here.
Quick, what can we name the new Metroid that's apparently just started development? Metroid Prime Corruption 4. Gonna do it.
done.
I think it is important to say, though, that these games, doubtful we'll see them in 2018, right? Like, we're looking long haul out there for both of those games, Pokemon
Metroid is a while.
and Metroid Prime.
Pokemon have said at least 2018, so
Yeah.
maybe it will come, maybe it won't. I think we'll see more of it next E3. But the fact that it's happening is enough, because people have wanted that forever. They've said, please give us a Pokemon game on a console. Never happened, so that's huge. What is happening is Yoshi Switch, which was a 2.5D side-scrolling Yoshi game coming in 2018. Really
so
interesting.
Cute. Oh my god, it's so adorable.
Nintendo classic art on photorealistic scenery, and it was built around co-op as well. That looked really interesting. It just, it looked almost like a 3D game because the cans that he was jumping over in the cardboard looked real, which was impressive at least. Very much like a Pikmin vibe, where the Pikmin are running around.
Woolly World. I gotta get to Woolly World.
That was a good game. The thing that got a lot of people hyped was the reveal of what the Breath of the Wild DLC would be. Did you see that? You guys still haven't played Breath of the Wild. Like, talking to a guy who's reached the first temple and someone who gave up before they even got there. It's like,
I was burnt out on gaming at that time. I'm sorry. Just happens.
Like, I got another plane trip coming up.
There you
It's
go.
happening. It'll happen.
well, Game of the Year contender, Breath of the Wild, just throwing it out there, is getting its first DLC launching June 30th, so very, very soon. It's going to feature hard mode, new armor, and a smart map. The biggest feature that it's going to have is Trials of the Sword, which is a 45-room survival gauntlet mode for a unique reward at the end. I think the reward is a permacharge master sword, which is pretty cool. But the actual trial itself is more the content. So I don't know if you saw it, but it's like PUBG. Imagine PUBG Zelda. So you drop down into a room and there's two bokoblins around a fire, sort of cooking something, and you're completely naked, no weapons, no nothing. And you've got to figure out how to take them down and get a weapon and, clear that room. And then you go into the next room with whatever you salvage from that room, and it progressively gets harder and harder for 45 levels.
That's so cool.
That is awesome. That sounds really fun.
So that to me is really, really cool. That's the first DLC, really just around the hard mode, which has got kind of like balloon wielding bokoblins patrolling the zone as well. So there's verticality to the combat, which is cool. The armor is what it is. Smart map is what it is. And there's some new amiibos being released. The second DLC is going to be a story-driven DLC coming in holiday 2017, which will feature all 4 of the guardian spirit animal creatures. I mean, to me, it feels like they're supporting Breath of the Wild well, and it's a game that didn't need DLC. It's a game that was solid without it. So more
DLC being a story DLC is pretty exciting too.
Yeah, and it's another thing coming this year. So it's not even being pushed out to say no, we're gonna it's going to be 12 months after release. It's going to come March. No, this is coming December. So excited. Going to do Fire Emblem Warriors before we do the plumber. Because something that, again, there's not a huge interest in, but the Warriors series, the Mizzou series, so Dynasty Warriors, is getting a Fire Emblem game. What's interesting about this is that it's featuring, Fire Emblem is gold dust. People love Fire Emblem, and it's coming September 28th.
We love Fire Emblem. So excited.
You're
I'm
Americans.
So excited.
You guys buy anything that's not got a Cadillac sticker on the front. Well, okay. North American. You're like fake American light.
I'm fake.
Diet American.
Yeah. There you go. You're a fake American. That's all you gotta say.
American light.
It is. It's America without the ego. That's it. So Fire Emblem Warriors. That's a Dynasty Warriors game. What was really interesting about that is that September 28th, this is coming out. So point that I'm making is all of these games seem to be coming out this year. They're stacked towards Q3 and Q4 this year. So there's content that is coming. Super Mario Odyssey. What do we think? That looked amazing.
That looked amazing. Totally
October
agree.
27th.
So
what do we think?
I'm completely sold on this game. They figured out a way to make Nintendo. They made Mario like a brand new game, right? It's like it's still Mario, just like Super Mario, in space is still Mario, or just like Super Mario 3D was still Mario. They figured out a way to make Mario still Mario, but have completely new mechanics and completely like feel fresh. I can't wait to play this game. Everything they showed looked like it was just going to be fun, right? It was just Nintendo has a way of distilling fun in calling it Mario, and they've done it again. It really does look like they've done it again.
So there's a couple of controversial aspects of this game that were in the trailer but weren't explicitly called out, because the trailer featured a newly composed song called Odyssey. That was actually freshly made. You had a weird sort of soul singer up on the stage, but a couple of features that you may have noticed is that your hat is actually a dynamic sidekick letting you possess enemies. So
it's called Cappy.
That was
it's named Cappy.
Is it Cappy?
I think it's Cappy.
Cappy. Maybe. It could be Cappy. I'm going to go with Cappy. Okay. If we're wrong, we're wrong. I'm sure chat will tell us. They love telling us when we're wrong.
As Cappy.
That's it. Well, if we go Cappy and they say we're not Cappy, then we're just going to bulldoze through it and continue with it. Yeah. So Cappy is the name. It's going to replace the official or traditional Mario power-ups. You won't pick up like stars and mushrooms and all these likes. You will gain power through possessing the bodies of opponents and allies on the field. So if you need to get through a destructible wall, you possess a bullet bill and you just drive at it. So it's new and creative ways to solve puzzles on the levels, which I think is really cool.
Really smart.
There's a controversial factor that this game is incredibly casual friendly, which I don't think a Mario needs to be Dark Souls level of difficulty either, but people are criticizing.
People are stupid to say that.
How do they know that?
Yeah,
because
they haven't played the game.
There's no way to die in the game, so they've removed death from the game. If you die, you just lose all your coins and continue playing. If you get a 0 coins, you just die and you're still at 0 coins. Reason for that is that the developers said that they wanted to not break immersion. So some of these levels are immensely large, sprawling open world things. And they don't want you having to go back to a title menu or back to the start of the level. They just want you to feel like you can be rewarded for exploring without being punished for doing something wrong and dying.
That's cool, man. Every game doesn't have to be super difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that difficulty's there in a different way. Like they said that the game's stacked with collectibles and hidden secrets and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's more around finding all the content rather than defeating difficult bosses. Cool. It's not the game for it. But October 27th. So 3 days after the PC release of Destiny. That's interesting, isn't it?
What will we be playing? Me at all. This is totally going to be a couch game again for me. It's going to be the game I have sitting on my Switch next to the couch, and when I'm sitting there watching, fucking, I don't know what stupid ass movie. Little Mario. And October all the better if it's a great one. How do you think I made it through the last three new Super Marios? You know, like those 2D side scrollers that they come out for the DS or 3DS. I've beaten all of those games doing exactly that.
Nice. There's a lot of games coming out in October too. Like there's Evil Within 2, and then on the same day there's Super Mario Odyssey, Assassin's Creed, and Wolfenstein 2 are the same day. Damn.
I feel bad for Wolfenstein 2 because that deserves more.
I love that game. I'm so excited.
That game I'm definitely buying, no doubt.
Me too. So day one.
It wasn't all sunshines, rainbows, and handjobs for Nintendo though. It was a couple of negative things in there which people
had some hand jobs. Yeah.
They haven't called out. No virtual console or online details. So no details whatsoever have been given if Nintendo has a virtual console coming to the Switch, and a lot of people are disappointed about it.
Aren't you guys starting to get the impression though that they're using this new online system to kind of replace the virtual console?
That's the fear, is that Nintendo Classic Library offered with the online pass is going to be an alternative to the traditional virtual console, and that's not good news. I don't think that's good news for anyone. You know, do you want a small limited library of NES games, or do you want to be able to buy NES 64 GameCube games and play them on the go?
For me personally, I'm not crazy nostalgic about those kind of games. Like I'm okay with a handful. That's just me though, because I am a pretty young guy, so you know. But for people who want those games though, I do think there should be a virtual console. Like really, there should be, because there are people out there who love classic NES and SNES games, and totally should be.
They might still be working on the emulator or something too. It might be that, you know, they're just not ready to do it. Maybe it'll come next year at E3.
Maybe it needs more work, yeah.
The issue with Nintendo, well, not the issue, I guess, but the positives around Nintendo and the issue with E3 for Nintendo is that they so frequently pull a Nintendo Direct out their arse. They'll say, you know, next week tune in on a Tuesday and, you know, we'll show you like the virtual console. They can just do that when they want, and they'll show Nintendo Direct.
Pokemon Direct they had too just before E3 was announced like the day before, like the night before as well. So
yeah, they can do it when they want. So really, you can't count Nintendo out just because they didn't show it at E3. I mean, it's worth saying as well. Everything that we've just listed for Nintendo was showed in a 24-minute presentation. 24 minutes they got through that.
Very short, yeah.
Efficient.
It was great though. It was really good.
I like the length. It's all about what you can pack into it, I guess.
Use that length well, baby. That's all you need.
Well, I like the little guy. I don't know his name. He looked like a cartoon of a Japanese man. He was standing outside the Nintendo headquarters in Japan. Loved his honesty. I actually burst out laughing when he said, you know, we've sold a lot of Switches and we see everyone using Switches outside of Japan, and it's made me so relieved. It was just like, it's great. It's such honesty. Not even like I'm happy about it. Just like, I didn't think you'd buy that shit, but done. Yeah, I know. That's it. Still making money. But that was Nintendo. So that's everything there. We've covered them all. We've made it over the hump, and we're out the other side with scars and all. Robbie, this is your moment to shine.
I mean, we did talk about EA and Microsoft on Sunday with Wilson for about 2.5 hours. But Robbie, you couldn't be there for that. Well, you didn't want to be there for that. I guess it's more accurate.
Because I was covering it, yes.
But we wanted to give you 5 minutes to talk about EA and Microsoft, so go.
Awesome. I mean, if you guys want to jump in, you can. EA, I'm going to be pretty brief with because, you know, they showed, which I'm just going to say, when they opened with the Madden 18, the drums, that was weird. But the Madden 18 story campaign surprised me. That actually looked kind of interesting, and I don't give a shit about Madden, so that was cool. Need for Speed looked really good, except Jesse Wallens, unfortunately, really messed up, so that was kind of a bummer. A Way Out.
Do you know who Jesse Wallens is? None of us knew who that guy was.
YouTuber. Yeah, he was the Prank versus Prank.
Oh, so you guys know him? I
do.
Yeah.
Just assumed he was an unknown who got himself pimped out there.
No, he's very popular. Yeah.
Great, he should have shown it on that stage.
He's a tefty-tef of the prank genre on YouTube.
Well, I think they could have gone with Tefty Teft on that there. Tefty could have introduced Need for Speed. I think he'd have done a better job.
Agreed.
Need for Beard payback. That's what they could have gone with. Anyway.
Need for Beard. But yeah, Need for Speed looked good. A Way Out was definitely the thing that impressed me the most. I'm sure you guys... What did you guys think of Way Out? You were impressed by it? Because I thought it was amazing, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we covered this on Sunday. We both, I think, were impressed by it.
Awesome. Yeah, I thought it looked amazing. God, just being able to play it with another person breaking out of prison looks awesome. Yeah, and then Anthem was shown at the end, which, of course, we saw way more at Microsoft, which I thought it looked amazing. So, but yeah, that's basically it for EA. For let me page over to Microsoft here real quick. So let me pick it up.
Battlefront 2, did you have any thoughts about that for EA?
Yeah, they did show a lot of Battlefront 2 gameplay as well, which I thought looked amazing. I think it was kind of awkward, though, with the presenters. They had iJustine and Golden Boy. I think they went on too long was the problem with that, right? Like, it went on pretty long, so... Yeah. But anyways, getting into Microsoft, obviously the big thing is we know what Scorpio is now. It's called Xbox One X, as Gary predicted. And I'm going to agree with you guys.
I still believe that.
You don't believe it?
No.
Mm-hmm. I will say, I will agree with you guys completely. Terrible name. I don't think it's a good name because even, remember on stage when they announced it, they're like Xbox One X, and like it's, like they kind of pronounced it weird too. It didn't sound good, and the problem is too, like obviously the name doesn't matter for us, but what happens if you're a mom or a dad or someone who doesn't follow the game industry news like we do? Like, you know what I mean? You're going to see, oh, it's an Xbox One. Here's a cheaper version, though, called the S. Why wouldn't I just get that? Like, it's as simple as that. I think they're going to see that $499 price tag and go, there's no reason for me to get this. I'm just going to get the S. So I don't know. From what they showed, though, of the console, personally, I was really excited about. I got to say, I was really impressed with Forza Motorsport 7 was one of those games. I was like, this looks gorgeous. Anthem, at the very end, the game looks dope, looks really fun, but it blew me away visually. Assassin's Creed Origins looked pretty good on it. There was a lot of other stuff too. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, gorgeous game, man. Looks absolutely beautiful. Xbox backwards compatibility, of course, for the original Xbox. That was a big thing too, which I'm very excited about. Yeah, I mean, all in all, I think the messaging they had on the Xbox One X was pretty solid, but I'm worried about
Well, why don't we
$4.99.
transfer over to that, right? It's that now that we've seen the Microsoft conference, we've seen what Xbox X brings to the table, we've seen some games for it, and we've seen what to look forward to from Sony and from Ubisoft and from all the other developers. Like, how excited are you guys for this Xbox One X? Now that we've had a couple of days to kind of process the information, like, are you still thinking, like, or are you, like, really hyped about it? Like, what are you thinking about the Xbox One X?
Personally, Gary can go ahead if he wants. Gary?
Cool. Yeah, happy to. From my perspective, coming at it from a predominantly PC and handheld gamer, and someone who has consoles just because they're there, the Xbox One X is feeling like the console that I would play on as that sort of gamer. Yeah, I mean, PlayStation, the only thing that's getting me to play it is the exclusives. If I want to play that particular exclusive, I don't buy it because I think it's got a load of great games. I'd play it if it had something that I'm particularly interested in. So of all the exclusives that PlayStation's had, I've maybe played 4 or 5 or 6 that I've really, really enjoyed. But if that wasn't the case, then objectively speaking, if I want to play multi-plats, the One X would be the place I'd play it on because it's the closest thing to the PC experience that I'm used to. So for me, absolutely, still think it's good. Still think the price point is fair. I think the price point's not too expensive for the hardware that you're getting. I think it's a premium product and they're not going to shift a huge amount of it. I think if nothing else, the One X lets you see games like Forza 7 running in screenshot or video mode, and that still blows me away. I went back and watched that again, and that looked very, very good.
4K 60 FPS.
Ridiculous. That
amazing.
That game almost sold me an Xbox One right there, or Xbox One X.
Agreed.
Right there. Like, it
blew me away.
So stunning. To me, there's a different value proposition than just buying an Xbox One X, though, is that if you already own an Xbox One, you're not actually gaining access to any games that you didn't have access to when you had by getting an Xbox One X. And I think that's a bit of a problem for a $500 upgrade cost, right? I am going to get one because I'm a nerd and because I want the best Xbox I could get, the best Xbox experience I can get. But if I was an Xbox One S owner or an Xbox One owner and I didn't have a PlayStation 4 and I didn't have a PC, I feel like that decision would be much, much more difficult. I could go and buy a PlayStation 4 for much less money than an Xbox One X and get access to all those PlayStation exclusives that I've never gotten to play before. Or I can buy a PC for probably $200 to $300 more and get access to this whole world of Steam library games and Origin games and like all of these, PC games that I've never had access to. And I think that's really what sticks in my craw the most about the Xbox One X. When I see the graphics on it, it looks spectacular. It's definitely the best looking console I've ever seen. And the games that they showed running on it and that are going to be launch exclusives for it are very compelling. It's that $500 price for an upgrade that I find to be kind of a stick in the mud for me.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, if you guys are wondering if I'm sold on it, from what they showed, I am. Like, I almost want to go and sell my Xbox One and get the X when it comes out. Like, they convinced me that much. This thing just, the games were noticeably just better looking to me. And if the frame rate's going to be better as well, that's really going to be compelling for me. If it's both a visual and performance upgrade for a lot of games, I mean, I'm buying it, no doubt, if that's what it's going to be. If it's mainly just visuals, that kind of depends, because what they showed looked really cool. Like, Sea of Thieves was another one too. Oh my god, that game looks like a ton of fun. Very beautiful, pretty game.
What about that game looks like fun to you?
Just, I think it looks really cool. I love how it's like an artsy sort of,
just specific though. Like, what's the gameplay loop that they showed that looks fun?
I think just being dynamic, like being on a pirate ship with friends and going to an island and looting treasure, like walking into a cave and you don't know what's going to be there. That's what got me excited. Part of that and the ship battles.
I think, Brian, you've missed the point a little bit on Sea of Thieves. So I know you've had this point a little while, so I went back and had a look at it as well to see if maybe I'm overhyping it. And the gameplay loop in itself is that you build the game. So you find the game in Sea of Thieves. And that, to me, strikes chords or resonates with Breath of the Wild. So the demo that you showed was that they had the maps that they were holding up. So the HUD is very, very minimalist. There's almost no HUD on the screen. Everything, all the information is around you. So the characters were picking up the map off of the navigator's table and holding it up on what it looked like. And then you have to look at the island and from your ground level, look at a bird's eye view of the map drawn on there and try to figure out from the clues where that treasure is on the island. But it's not as simple as that. They said that's a really cut down part of the gameplay loop. There's a bigger part around that, which is trying to actually get your pirate ship to that island. So you need to have one person down in the navigation room watching where your ship's tracking on the course, one person up in the crow's nest calling out where the rocks are up ahead, saying turn left, turn right, because you can't see that from where the other person is.
Yeah.
Someone driving the ship, two people working the sails to make sure that your the wind is in the right position to move you forward.
I get it now. This sounds like fun.
And then more so
there you
than
go,
that,
Gary.
if you think about it bigger than that, the map itself is not just given to you. You're going to have to go out into the world and find people who have pieces of a treasure map that they've heard whispers of, that it's in this place, it's in these coordinates. You've then got to find that, figure out from a riddle if that's true, what part of the zone it is, track it across. And then you might be the most belligerent pirate and going out and doing that. There might be another pirate crew who track you and follow you. And when you go out to the island to get the treasure, they hide in your hold. And when you come back, they attack you, steal the treasure, and leave.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Okay, so this all sounds awesome. I did not get this at all from what Microsoft showed off during their E3 press conference. But what you're explaining to me sounds like it's going to be my game of the year. Like it sounds like it's going to be amazing.
It's difficult because Breath of the Wild didn't look that good in the demos that you saw of it. It just looked like an open world Zelda game. But when you got in it and you experienced that build your own game, it feels like Rare are building a social pirate experience. That's so good. Absolutely blows me away.
Gary's selling game codes 20% off by now.
Sea of Thieves is PC and Xbox exclusive, so I'll be playing it on PC. And I hope that we'll have the SS Beastly Thoughts crew with our own pirate ship. So,
oh, dude, I'm so excited for Sea of Thieves. It's just gonna be a blast.
We gotta get Beastly a PC so we can make that happen.
Well, you can play it on the Xbox. I mean, I think it's cross-play. So
it's cross-play? Oh, perfect.
I think it is. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So to me, that game. I mean, talking about winners and losers of E3 that we're speaking about, and talking about the value proposition on the Xbox. I just think that Microsoft, there was something electric and something enthusiastic and fresh and vibrant about the Microsoft presentation that's still hitting me. When I go back and look at the Microsoft presentation and I see what they showed 42 games, 22 either launch or complete exclusives to the Xbox. Sony didn't show half of that, and Sony are the games guys, and the stuff that Sony showed were old games. You know, things like Metro Exodus that were dropped, PlayerUnknown's Battleground, granted it's an old game, it's new there. Yeah. Dragon Ball FighterZ looks amazing, and I'm not a beat-em-up fan, but it looked like the anime. Sea of Thieves, Code Vein, all of these things are in Ashen. Did you see Ashen? That's like a 4-player co-op Dark Souls out, small people fighting big things in an open world.
Yeah.
There's so many good games that they put out, and most of these are coming out end of this year or start of next. I don't know. To me, I feel like for consistency and, if we're going to give out like a most improved medal, most improved.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
what was your guys?
The difference between the Microsoft of the Don Matrick days and the current Microsoft is immense. And I think what we saw in this press conference from Microsoft was like all the work that they've been doing since Don Matrick left is now finally paying off.
Phil's been steering that ship, man. He's been doing it.
Seriously. And like these games, they're also coming out pretty soon. The game that I'm most excited about that I saw at E3 this year by far is Anthem. And that game's coming out next year. And it looks spectacular. If that was really running on the Xbox One X.
One X.
It
beautiful
looked
game.
Spectacular. Like spectacular. So much so that Digital
1080
Boundaries,
Ti.
shout out to Peace of Thoughts, doesn't even think that it was actually running on Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Wow. That game did blow me away. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, there is no way this is actually running on this thing. That's unreal. I
mean,
really did. Wow. Like, yeah.
It is difficult to impress me with console visuals. Again, I'm playing on a 1080 Ti at 4K.
Gosh.
I'm playing on the best possible hardware that I can get, aside from the Titan XP, which is like, what, 2% more powerful.
Yeah.
You know, you can't get better PC hardware. And the stuff that they're showing me on the One X look as good or better than I expect to see from my PC.
Yeah.
Unreal.
The difference, though, the one thing that sticks for me is that all these games that we're talking about are going to be playable on the current Xbox that you have, which makes the Xbox One X, in my opinion, a hard sell unless that you're one of those gamers that already has a PC, already has a PS4 Pro, already has, an Xbox. Like, for me, it's an easy decision. Yeah, I want my Xbox games to look amazing. I want my Destiny 2 experience on Xbox to be top of the line. I want my Anthem experience to be top of the line. I want 4K in 60 frames, or Cuphead in 4K at 60 frames per second. I want all of the pixels. I want the best pixels ever, and I'm going to get them. But it's a much harder value proposition if you already own an Xbox One and you don't own a PC and you don't own a PS4.
Totally.
A $500 upgrade cost to me is, man, I feel like there's a better way to spend that money.
It's $600 if you're in Canada, so even worse.
Yeah, but that's fake dollars. I mean, the One X
is... thanks. Fake dollars.
It is. It's just like Canadian dollars
money. I don't even know
maple leaves on the front.
Yeah, it's colored. It's great. It's just Monopoly money. Thanks.
The other thing that I was going to say then is the One X, though. Microsoft are bridging the gap. You say about a PC being a better value proposition, and on paper that's true, but the gap's getting so much closer. So games like PUBG and Black Desert Online, you'd never see on a console. Black Desert Online is a proper hardcore MMO. Like, that is as close to PC as you could possibly get. I'd argue PUBG is as close to a PC game as you'd ever possibly get, and that's coming first to Xbox, and we don't know for how long for. PS4 eventually, but you've seen what exclusivity does to a game. When it's on the platform first, that's where people play it, especially if it looks as good as it does on the One X. I don't know. I mean, we've probably blown Phil Spencer for long enough there, but they're significantly good. Nintendo, on the other hand, again, another amazing showing from my perspective. I'm going to focus on the big three and not go on the other guys.
Yeah.
Nintendo also, they turned up. I expected the Switch to be 20 minutes of Zelda Breath of the Wild or 20
I didn't
minutes
think the
of
conference
Mario.
would be good from them, but it really was. It was good.
I've gone from looking at my Switch and thinking, what am I going to play on it, to thinking, how am I going to fit all those games in? There's a lot coming out for the Switch of good games.
Yeah.
This year.
A lot of them are coming this year, yeah.
And then finally, Sony. Really not impressed by them. I mean, maybe it's because
they were okay. I'd say give them like a 6, 7, maybe.
They've built their expectation up. People were like, Sony's going to be big. Sony's going to drop some shit. You watch what Sony do. Nothing. Like...
That was surprising because I expected them to, I didn't think they would be as good as last year. No, definitely not. But I thought, at least it'll probably be just as good as Microsoft, if not even a little bit better. But no, really, I thought Microsoft was way better. I really did. Yeah, that was disappointing.
There's no Shenmue 3. No, it's just...
Oh, come on. E3, that game was not going to be shown.
2 years ago it was. The E3 of Dreams.
It was announced for development.
2005 was the E3 of Dreams.
Kickstarter was announced, right?
Yeah. Just started development. So
the Kickstarter live on stage at E3.
Let's announce the game that we haven't actually started development on, but here, go give us money.
And they asked for $2 million.
They did that with Final Fantasy VII as well, the remake of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, to me, looking back, like you say, looking at that Sony conference, the summary of games, there's not much on there that gets me super excited at E3. This just seems like general... Monster Hunter World is the biggest game on there that I got hyped for. And that's personally because I'm...
the difference between Sony and Microsoft is Microsoft is reaping the rewards of their hard work over the last, 3 years, right?
Yep.
Sony has been, reaping the work off of the next 3 years for the last 3 years. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it's it's going to be hard for them to get us hyped up about buying a PlayStation when they've been showing us the same shit over and over and over again, and the shit doesn't come out.
So, what was your guys' favorite conference? We could close out that way. Who did the
Microsoft,
best?
by a long shot.
I agree.
I'm going to say Microsoft. As much as I think Nintendo had a very, very solid show, and I want to say Nintendo because I love the fact they did it all in 20 minutes. You know, you could fit that into a lunch hour. You know, that was it. Nintendo was just like done, and Microsoft took just under 2 hours to do it. What I liked about Microsoft was they did a hardware reveal, which is big. They managed to get 42 games into that show.
Mm-hmm.
And
a hardware announcement.
Yeah, the hardware announcement. 42 games into the show.
And fantastic looking games.
It felt, when Phil came out, and their sort of Mark Cerny equivalent, the sort of Indian Mark Cerny that they brought out.
Phil can just talk about teraflops all day and I'll be excited. He's got them flops. He's so good.
It felt authenticity from their presentation. I felt like Phil cared about what he was speaking about. I didn't feel like it was an E3 presentation. I just felt like this guy believes in his product and
Phil's
believes
an awesome
in his company.
dude. I do have a shit ton of respect for him. He really is a good guy.
I don't like him that much. He stole my girlfriend when I was in high school. I'm still pissed about it.
Really?
Okay.
As far as you know.
Where did that come from? All right.
I don't know. I don't know how you can say he's a nice fucking guy. You've never met him.
No, he just seems genuine and nice, like in interviews and just stuff. And I agree with him on a lot of what he says. Like, that's just it. You're right, though. Yeah, we've never met him or anything. But I think he seems like a pretty nice guy.
Briar slept with Phil, and Phil never called him back.
Never called me.
Never.
Briar,
call me, Phil. Call me. I'll let you do butt stuff.
Oh God.
Microsoft.
One thing, quick. Microsoft's conference was the one thing that, like, consistently, I was like, "This is great." Like, there was never really a slow moment. I just wanted to add that. Like, they were consistent. So,
I think
Briar's
just broken the internet. You can't follow up from that.
God, I can't stop thinking about that.
That's even weirder.
Why did I have to add that?
This isn't even a podcast anymore. This is a cry for help. This is just this is an intervention.
I mean, it's such a weird conversation saying like who won E3. Like everybody announced some cool stuff that I can't wait to play on E3.
Stuff with Phil.
All right, so everybody saw everything from E3. Tell me the game that you're most excited to play, or at least know more about coming out of E3.
Oh, that's a tough one.
So I'll hit up then. So there's a noise in it. From my perspective, it's probably Monster Hunter. Yeah. Now, a lot of the other games I knew were coming or had something around, like Sea of Thieves. I'm super hyped for, like 100% hyped. But I was hyped going in. There was no difference there.
Yeah.
Things like Black Desert and PUBG, I can play them now. Monster Hunter is the first time that I can pick it up on PC, PS4, or Xbox and play a real Monster Hunter game on a real controller. I don't have to, fiddle around with a 3DS. Like, it's, to me, the fact there was never a Monster Hunter on the Vita is a travesty, and getting it on a mainline console.
You could get it for Sony and play it on your Vita.
Exactly. So, or I can get it for my PC and play it on my Shield tablet.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Both ways. Yeah, I had no expectation of a Monster Hunter game for anything other than the Switch, and I thought it was going to be a port of the mobile. So, yeah, to me, Monster Hunter.
Robbie?
For me, I think it's between 4 games. I think Anthem.
No, you got to pick one. Nope.
No, I will pick one, though.
No, you have to pick one.
Okay. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Do you want to go, Brian?
Yeah, I'll go while Robbie's thinking about it. It's it's definitely 100% Anthem. I was wondering what Project Dylan was as we were going into E3. It was on my radar, but I didn't really know. Seeing it in action, finding out like the guys who made Mass Effect are making a looter shooter in this really awesome looking sci-fi world. I mean, like I've watched that trailer I think 10 times now, the one they showed at the Microsoft press conference. And
it's great.
I mean, there's definitely some things I'm concerned about, but it looks like it's just going to be a damn fun game to play with my friends. And, something that while Destiny 2 maybe is having, a content gap, and slide right into some Anthem, get some mechanized warfare going, and, jump into some space bug black holes.
Just like Phil did.
Just like Phil did.
Robbie.
I think I'm going to go with
your,
Anthem as well. It's close between that and Sea of Thieves and God of War and stuff for me. I think Anthem was the really just standout, gorgeous game, and it's so cool because it just has a really lush, foresty kind of planet. I was into it. I really enjoyed that gameplay.
Awesome. So we're unanimous. I'm outvoted 2-1. I'll accept that. Anthem is the...
Sea of Thieves. You really sold me hard, though, on Sea of Thieves, man.
Man,
Yeah.
I didn't even, for me, Sea of Thieves, like I said, Briar, you killed my hype. You literally flopped my hard on. It went wilted.
I have that effect on a lot of men.
It wilted.
Apparently Phil Spencer too.
So I wanted to find out more. So yeah, I did a bit of digging and watched some of the developer interviews. I'd recommend you do because
I think I will.
There's a whole shit ton of game there that is just waiting to be played. Because I was thinking,
Thieves is a close second for me. Like it's close.
It looks beautiful as well because I had exactly your view, which is looking at it thinking this looks ugly. Why is it so ugly?
What?
And then you realise that
nuts.
Well, no, it's got rare styling on the islands and the world like that, but where they've spent a lot of their time and attention in crafting is actually the sea and the sky, because that's where you spend most of your time is at sea. The waves look photorealistic and the way that the tides and the currents move, and then you've got the actual realistic weather and clouds. I don't know. I'm going to get lost at sea there. Like I'm going to be my own sort of little Captain Jack Sparrow or a cabin boy for a handsome captain somewhere. I'm away. That's it.
Yeah, I'm reading the chat too. A lot of people are saying Anthem is definitely their favorite. Sea of Thieves, some people are saying too. See Crackdown in there. Yeah, mostly Anthem. I'm seeing a lot of.
I think it'd be interesting to see our comments section on the YouTube or on the Podbean. See what people think. I don't know. I think Anthem's an obvious choice, but I've been burned too many times on games that look like that. Things like The Division, Destiny, Watch Dogs, games that look great when they're first shown.
I don't think it's bad to be skeptical about these things. Yeah.
So that's it.
E3's not the time for skepticism.
I'm sorry.
It is the time for hype.
Gary, why aren't you hyped?
I'm permanent. This is my hype face. This is as hype as a British person can get. We're constantly on like
maximum excitement.
I know.
What a buzzkill, Gary. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's it. If you get us really excited, one eyebrow raises very slightly. That's it. That's how you know we're super there.
That could also mean you just did something extraordinarily stupid, though.
That's
and
it.
He's just watching you with one eyebrow raised. Watching you big an ass at yourself. Is that going to do it for the show, guys?
I think it is.
You're going to tell 2.5-hour show, 2.5-hour shows this week.
Woo. We are
E3,
stamina.
So, yeah.
You know, we have got some stamina in podcasting. We're like endurance casters.
If we had another press conference to talk about, I could slide right into that too. No problem.
Go for it.
But we don't, so we're going to end the show.
Where can you find this fantastic show, this amazing piece of broadcasting? Where can you find it, Brian?
This show goes live every Sunday night on twitch.tv/Briar Rabbit. You can also watch it on YouTube. Just search for The Beastly Thoughts Show. Or you can listen to it in the audio format, which Gary does a bang-up job of editing. It actually has much better audio if you listen to it on Podbean or on iTunes. I think you could just do a search for Beastly Thoughts on either. But there's a link in chat right now and on the screen, so you can check it out. Gary does a bang-up job at editing the audio for this.
You are a banger.
It really
Gary.
does sound a lot better than it does. We use Skype to do the audio for the show, so you'll hear skipping and stuff, but we also record locally everybody's voice and then put it together in one magnificent file of only the sultry tones, no Skype interference whatsoever. It's the Beastly Thoughts show that you always wanted but never knew you wanted. Well, it's here now. It's here
love that
for your
description.
loving embrace.
Yeah,
We're here to love you.
That Podbean link, even if you have no interest in Podbean whatsoever, you'll make us all incredibly happy if you chuck us a follow, throw a comment down. In fact, if you could leave the comment butt stuff on our Podbean.
Butt stuff.
That is what we're looking for. The comment
Yes,
butt
hashtag
stuff is
butt
the
stuff.
keyword. For every person that follows,
Jesus,
I
got
will
trend on Twitter now. Oh, yikes.
I will cut the audio loop of Briar whispering, "I let you do butt stuff," and you'll be sent a personalised one for your ringtones. Every time you get text from your wife, you can hear Briar. Sultry tones.
God.
So please do follow us, because that's how we grow, and that's how we can put more content out for you fantastic people who bear with us every single week, and we do appreciate it.
Yeah, we love you guys. Thank you so much for watching this week.
Yeah, shout out to Beastly, who couldn't be here tonight. We all love you and we support you.
We love
can't
you.
wait to get you back, man.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone could put their love into a collective amorphous blob and float it towards Beastly's household, we would be most appreciated.
Yeah, or get some love in chat right now for Beastly. We miss him and we love him.
All right. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody. Bye.